Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around to talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, streaming, and all sorts of good things. And it's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's game day!
Game day!
Moon Knight! Moon Knight is on tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very, very stoked about that. So excited. It's been a damn good week. We got to see Thor trailer yesterday. We got Moon Knight coming tonight. Woo!
You're seeing The Northman on Thursday?
I'm seeing The Northman on Thursday. I think a lot of people are going to see The Northman on Thursday. We got CinemaCon coming up next week. Well, I mean, it's a glorious time. And joining me here in all this glory, sitting over here, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
John, we live in a world where there's actually, I can see Moon Knight in all of his glory depicted on screens wherever I want to watch him, whether it's on my phone, my computer, my 65-inch OLED. I mean, come on, dude. Who would have thought? As other parts of the world are going to hell in a handbasket, we are amusing ourselves to death, and I am so there for it.
Sitting right beside him, always amusing himself to death. He's joining you guys in the live chat today, Mr. Ray Ora. Ray, how you doing?
What's up? Movie club later.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a second.
Did you sleep?
We were watching it pretty late?
Just a little bit.
Sitting beside him?
No, I started it right when I got home in the afternoon, but I finished it at 12 at night.
It's a long haul, that one.
Yeah,
it's a long haul.
it's there and back again, Ray.
Sitting right beside him, of course, is Chris Carr. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm great. I don't know how anyone can stop in the middle of Lord of the Rings, but that's your journey. That's your journey, right?
You do you, man. You do you. By the way, what we are talking about is that a little bit later today, at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is, of course, the newest meeting of the Movie Club. And today's movie that we're going to be talking about, simply one of the greatest films of all time. I feel like we've been saying that a lot for a lot of the Movie Club movies, but it absolutely is. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Today and tonight, we're going to be talking about that movie on Movie Club. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about the Lord of the Rings films for the next couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about Fellowship of the Ring right now. We're going to be talking about Two Towers next week. Then we're going to be talking about The Return of the King the week after that. So hopefully you guys have gotten all caught up. That, once again, will be at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. We hope you guys will come back and watch it. Or if you're watching the show later, you just go over to our YouTube channel. This will be up there, and you can go and watch it there. Dope. Okay, guys. What's that?
It's dope.
Oh, it's so
I'm so happy that we're talking about Lord of the Rings.
I watched it again last night. Like, it's one of those movies that it's like every time you watch it, you're like, I didn't remember it was this good. Then you watch it again a year later. I didn't remember it was this good. Like, it's perfection. It's such a perfect movie.
John, because you have a PlayStation 5, I could loan you my 4K.
Do you have the physical media?
I could loan you the 4K discs.
Oh, I heard that. I heard that before, John.
Versions.
I've got it on. I've got it on streaming. I'm good.
I was going to say, I do have those ones, so I can't give you shade.
You know what? I don't have the 4K.
That.
I think the Lord of the Rings discs, they're not the final discs I ever bought, but they're amongst the final discs that I ever bought. I actually have but this DVD is not Blu-ray, so this is a while back.
I'm coming over here with a selection of physical media. I'm going to strap you into your couch out there, and I'm going to sit there Clockwork Orange style and force you to watch some things.
You know what?
I don't see that happening.
I do remember the last Blu-ray I bought.
What was that?
Paddington.
That's a good one to get. That is a very good one to get. I'm glad you got that one. All right, guys. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break the show up into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to throw it open to your live comments and questions. How do you get a live comment or question on the show? Well, you got to be watching live. That's the first part about getting a live question on. Secondly, just use the super chat feature in the YouTube chat. Now, important to note that we will not open the super chats until we get almost near the end of the final topic. Once we get near the end of the final topic of the show, we will open up the super chats so you guys start sending them in. Yesterday, we were only able to keep it open for 3 minutes because you guys filled it up pretty fast. So once we open it up, fire in your super chat, and we'll read that off at the end of the main topics. By the way, guys, if you want somebody who watches the show, one of the other 22 hours during the day, and you're not here to send in a live question, but you'd like to get a question for me or Rob, simply use the tip link down in the description below, and we will answer those comments and questions on Mailbag. You can send it in simply by going to www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. Once you guys get there, send that thing on in. just want to make sure you understand that we don't necessarily guarantee we'll get those on. We got to make sure the question or comment you send in is appropriate for mailbag. And if it is, you'll see it on mailbag. And there's a new mailbag coming a little bit later today with one Robert Meyer Burnett. So keep your guys' eyes open for that.
Can I do an inappropriate mailbag once?
I don't think that would do well for our sponsors.
That's probably true.
Yeah, that's probably not one that's going to work out.
Because I just want to read those questions.
Yeah, no, I really don't want them read, to be honest with you. Anyway, guys,
probably smart.
With all that down, let's move into some off the tops here, shall we? And we've got one off the top here today, and that is this. It's become kind of relegated down to the point of being a punchline a lot. But the reality is that the Blair Witch Project, the original Blair Witch Project movie, was revolutionary. It was a movie shot, if I'm not mistaken, on a Sony VX1000 camera, which was totally one of these mini DV, totally consumer level cameras. And it was shot on a bunch of Sony VX1000s, and it was made for pocket lint. And they shot this movie, and it became a worldwide phenomenon, like an absolute worldwide phenomenon. Do you guys remember me telling you the story that it was at Star Wars Celebration in Indiana where we were screening our movie, Rise of the Teases, that one of the vice presidents of Lucasfilm and about 10 of us got to go late at night to a movie theater where they opened up the theater just for us to show us a way unofficial advanced screening of the original Spider-Man movie. One of the people in that group of 10 was Eduardo Sanchez, the director of Blair Witch Project. And so we got to go and hang out with him for the night and watch the first Spider-Man movie. And listen, it was incredible. This idea that you can just tell a story with no money, just have a neat idea, point your camera at it and shoot it, edit it well, and you've got a legit movie. Now, I remember watching it. I got a little motion sickness from, you were in the same boat as me on that?
I wasn't allowed to see it because I was too little.
Oh, okay.
But when I finally got to watch it, I puked.
Yeah, it's especially on a big screen in the theater because it's a lot of movement. Very authentic the way they did it. I mean, it was so authentic. There were actually a lot of people who actually thought it really was a documentary made from the found footage of whatever. I mean, that's how.
It founded a whole genre.
Yeah,
that found footage genre. It began that whole thing.
So it was, and it was great for what it was. Then came the Book of Shadow.
Yeah.
The Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. That was some kind of horrible. Like, that was awful.
Well, what was really interesting was they did things like when they were directing it, the actors, most of it was improv. And like when they were in their tent, the actors didn't know what was going to happen. And like the filmmakers were out there doing stuff, like trying to scare them. And so it was a really interesting, immersive, almost, to me, it's, I love watching improv, like comedy improv. I think comedy improv performers are great. But watching these actors improv fear and terror was really effective because it felt real. Like that movie has peak, I'm always going on about verisimilitude. And I think that you just nailed why, because people thought was this real? And they did everything they could to market it as if it was. And so it had that William Castle marketing campaign behind it, and it was really effective. And
it also utilized that technique that Korean horror film makers often know, which is the things that you don't see will scare you more than the things that you do.
Totally, dude.
And so there's that. Now, the reason we're talking about Blair Witch right now is because a report has come out that Lionsgate is looking to reboot Blair Witch Project. They're looking to bring it back because everybody's looking for recognizable IP. This comes to us from our friends over at Joe Blow. The indie found footage horror film, The Blair Witch Project, was a massive hit when it was released back in 1999. And to this day, it has a lot of fans who consider it to be one of the best horror movies ever made. The attempt to rush a sequel into the world resulted in the black sheep known as Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, which was horrible. And 16 years later, that film, Lionsgate tried to revive the Blair Witch property with the release of a film appropriately titled Blair Witch. That movie just kind of came and went. But 6 years down the line, Jeff Snyder of The Ankler, who used to work with us over at Collider, over at The Ankler, has heard that Lionsgate is indeed interested in returning to the world of the Blair Witch, where he said the following. Start prepping those pitches, genre scribes, because it sounds like Lionsgate is ready to venture back into the woods again for another Blair Witch project, since good IP is never truly dead in the streaming age. All right. I can already hear Like Obi-Wan Kenobi hears the thousands of voices suddenly crying out in terror and then were silenced. I can hear the screams all are, why reboot this? Why?
No.
For why?
There we go.
For why is the idea. And I will tell you what, you know me, I am pro reboot. I think reboots can be great. Without reboots, we wouldn't have Man of Steel. Without reboots, we wouldn't have the Al Pacino Scarface. Without reboots, we wouldn't have the Jeff Goldblum The Fly. I mean, a lot of times reboots can be awesome, and oftentimes they're terrible, but so are other movies. It's whatever. Reboot it. If the reboot is good, great, we have a new good movie. If the reboot's bad, oh well, we've still got the original. That's been my opinion. But in a genre space like this, especially with the whole found footage idea, like you said, Rob, it kind of instituted a new subgenre, if you will, the found footage movies. That burned out. But it's been burned out for a while.
Yeah.
And if you could actually, here's the thing to me, if you want to reboot Blair Witch Project, I'm not saying you have to get Eduardo Sanchez back, but you've got to adopt that philosophy. Truly get some zero budget indie filmmaker, get them to come up like based on the original concept, but then build more around that. And then just really let them rip in the woods with a $200,000 budget and say, go ahead, rip it. And if you really wanted, if you want to reboot this, then truly reboot the spirit of it as well. And I will say right now, I think this could be something that today, even though it's a reboot, it's something that could feel fresh and different than what we're getting a lot of right now. And I think it could be a winner. It could absolutely crash and burn like Book of Shadows, but I mean, it could have some feasibility here. Rob, you hear about the concept of them. Lionsgate is looking to get back. Everybody's looking to get into recognizable IP. Do you think something like a Blair Witch reboot could work? And if so, what would they have to do to make it work?
I don't know if I share your optimistic appraisal of the situation. I think here's my problem. I think that there was a mystique around that movie, the way they marketed, the way they felt, even knowing as a horror fan, when I went and saw that film, it was unique. No one had ever really done anything quite like that before. And it was very effective. But I think that gimmick has been so played out. And now we live in a world where everyone's carrying phones everywhere they go. So I'm not saying, I don't ever want to say something can't work. But the very essence of Blair Witch, which created, was the foundation of an entirely new genre of storytelling. I think you're going to run into what you ran into with Book of Shadows in that you're making a more traditional film out of it. And you can't play that same gimmick again. You can't be like, oh my God, we just found more footage from the Blair Witch Project. Now everybody's got 4K cameras in their phones. You know, that all the footage is going to look great. And you know what? God bless any filmmaker who makes the attempt, because I would be very curious to see what they come up with. I would say go with God, and I would love them to knock it out of the park, because I got to tell you, John, that final shot of Blair Witch.
Oh my, it's haunting.
Yeah.
Haunting. When you're watching that movie, and I hate to say that you had to be there, but seeing Blair Witch for the first time, you really did have to be there, because it was truly something new that you hadn't seen. And when you walked away from the theater, I remember thinking, I bought into it utterly. Is that real? And that last scene, I remember some people, the cynics, would be like, well, nothing happens, Rob. At the end of the movie, nothing happens. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That last scene is like, is that person like hunched over by a doorway to hell? Like, it would not surprise me if the hand of Satan came out at the end of that movie and scooped up. I was so unnerved by that film, and it was beautifully done. And I know it was like a magic trick. But
I'll tell you this too, though. I remember I was so over the found footage subgenre. I was so over it, in fact, that when I got an email asking me to come to the studio lot to screen this new little film they have coming out called Chronicle, that I believe Ray came with me to that.
Okay.
I didn't even want to go. Like, seriously, I had no interest. Like, really, I was over it. The found footage thing was dead to me. But Ray said he would go with me, so I'm like, oh, all right, let's go. And Ray agreed to go. Oh my God, I fell in love with that movie, right?
Me too.
And I think, and wow, there's someone's got to do a documentary on what happened to Chronicle 2. Like someone's got to do a documentary on that sometime. But it made me realize too that there are things that can seem dead until somebody, like you always say, right? It all comes down to character and story.
Yeah.
And if you've got like a model like a Blair Witch, if you can make us love the characters and get us into the story. Like I said, I went in being completely over the found footage thing. I came out of Chronicle going, wait a minute. No, I guess it can really work if you have great characters and a great story, like Robert Meyer Burnett always says. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, this could go south really badly, but I think hope exists, Chris. They want to go back, do Blair Witch, make Chris vomit part 2 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something
Make me vomit too, Electric Boogaloo.
What would it have to do you think? What would Lionsgate need to do with the Blair Witch in order to make a reboot of it at least semi-successful? What do you think?
I mean, you really have to up the ante here, don't you? Because like y'all were saying, everyone's got one of these now. Everyone's doing found footage stuff because it's the easiest way for you as a filmmaker to start getting out there and creating something, is just doing something on your phone. And the found footage genre, I mean, did take some big leaps and bounds because from here we built to things like Cloverfield, right?
Yeah.
Which is a masterpiece in my opinion.
I love it.
But how do you capture that shock and that pure belief that this was potentially real, right? I watched this on VHS when I rented it from Blockbuster. There's an old ass sentence. Because this came out in 99, right? So I was like 9 or 10. So I didn't get to watch it till later. And watching it at home, honestly, was so much scarier because it was just like, it felt like someone had put it on a camcorder and you popped in a home video and you accidentally saw some stuff, right? So I don't know how you captured that again and how you have something so shocking at the end once again when this already exists.
Right.
So that's my big issue here too. And real quick, I just have to, Rob, when you said go with God, that's something my mom says to me when she's over my shit, where she goes, oh, go with God. So, I'm sorry, I started laughing when you were talking.
Maybe I've turned into an old fuddy-duddy just sitting here.
It's all kind of trauma.
No.
But, I have to say, in terms of found footage, John, you brought up Chronicle. There was this new Netflix series that was based on the podcast. It's called Tape 49 or Tape 89.
I know the one you're talking about. Yes.
What's that?
The Netflix one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which does
she's
archive.
investigating archive?
Yeah,
she's investigating like the history of a building or something.
It's a guy. Yeah, it's a guy, and he's watching tapes. And I got to tell you, when he was watching the tapes and they incorporated it in, it's creepy. And it's a total narrative. Like, it's not, I mean, you could do things like, how you could really make Blair Witch work? Do it for real. Like, maybe have real killers going after the filmmakers.
That's not going to work.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it can be done. I just don't quite know, because it's Blair Witch. So how do you make that thing work?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about the idea that Lionsgate wants to reboot Blair Witch? What did you think about the original back in the day? Do you think it's something that could be revitalized again? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Stockton Luke. Morning, crew. I'm super excited for Obi-Wan, as many of you are. Although comicbook.com has a report that Rupert Friend, who's playing the villain, attended a friend's movie premiere and was asked about Obi-Wan, he told them that there are, quote, wonderful cameos and Easter eggs galore. This worries me a bit that they might focus on remember berries more than on some story elements. Is this comment worrying to you? And what do you think about it?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. Look, I mean, I think we're all getting, we were just talking off the top of the show. We had the Thor trailer drop yesterday. We got Doctor Strange coming. Moon Knight's on tonight. CinemaCon. Let's not forget, we've got Obi-Wan coming too. Obi-Wan is almost upon us. It's like in, what we're going to call it here, 6 weeks?
Dude.
Yay!
Oh my God, it's going to be, Obi-Wan is going to be here in like 6 weeks. Crazy. And we're hearing more and more little details starting to come out about it. All of it sound good to me. Now, the one thing I've always talked about with stuff like this is, please don't go too much into the, how do you refer to as member berries?
Yeah.
Please don't go into the member berries too much. Like one of the most terrible, I think the worst episode of Mandalorian was, I can't remember which season it was, but Mando ends up on Tatooine, and half the episode is, look, everybody, remember this bar from the original Star Wars? Ooh, look, everybody, remember those droids from the it was just all, yeah, we get it. Can you tell a story? Can you move things along here? And it gets to be quite frustrating. So I hope they don't do that. I really hope they don't. That doesn't mean the odd cameo or the cool Easter egg can't be great. Just don't make it, again, using the member berries phrase, just don't make the whole damn thing a member berries episode, because that can get frustrating. The question comes up, the reason the viewer's asking this is because Rupert Friend, who is, of course, he's going to be the Inquisitor in the upcoming Obi-Wan, he was asking, he made a comment that raised some eyebrows. This is what he said. This comes us from CBR. Rupert Friend went on to say that while he can't give away anything specific, Obi-Wan Kenobi is stuffed with references that Star Wars fans will appreciate, but wonderful cameos from the people I obviously can't tell you about, Easter eggs galore, and yeah, it's a thrilling ride. While the nature of these Easter eggs remain a mystery, some enthusiasts are confident that Obi-Wan Kenobi will feature an appearance by Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn. Serving as Obi-Wan's master before his death at the hands of Darth Maul in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, fans are hoping that the iconic Jedi will return as a Force ghost. Neeson had previously shot down rumors that he will be reprising his role in the series, joking that Disney couldn't afford him. I've heard Ewan McGregor was going to do a series. No, I don't think so. No, I haven't been approached. They don't have enough money, teased Neeson, which is absolutely awesome for Liam Neeson to say. Once again, that comes to us from CBR. All right. Does it worry me a little bit that he's using phrases like Easter eggs galore and like loads of wonderful cameos? A little. I'm not going to lie. That does worry me a little bit. But I mean, Easter eggs can be completely innocuous, right? It can, like, it's something in the background that the camera passes and things like that. On that sense, as long as you don't let it hijack the story, load it with Easter eggs. I think that's great. It gives us as fans, after we watch it the first time, to go back and watch it again a few more times, slowly, frame by frame, and pick out all this stuff. And like I said, as long as it doesn't hijack the story, I'm perfectly good with it. I think that's great. Cameos. Okay. When he says wonderful cameos, maybe to him, 2 means loads of wonderful cameos. Maybe that means 2. And if Liam Neeson's one of them as a Force ghost, sign me up. That's perfectly good. Now, if wonderful cameos is like every episode there's 4, hey, everybody, remember him? Like if there's like 4 of those every episode, it will become very distracting. It's going to pull me out of the show, and it could ruin it. I got a feeling, though, they're not going to do that. I really do. Because I think it's Deborah Chow who's directing this, right? And Deborah Chow's Mandalorian episodes were no nonsense. And when you watch, remember that, what was the name of the 6-part documentary series they did on the making of Mandalorian when they had all the directors sitting around? I can't remember what it was exactly. But when they showed the behind the scenes of her episodes, like, she's take no shit, no nonsense business time, ladies and gentlemen, like getting things done. So I've got a feeling, while Rupert is talking very enthusiastically, I have a feeling that the wonderful cameos will be minimal. It'll keep the focus on the story. So potentially a little concerning. Yeah, but I trust Deborah Chow, so I think it's going to be fine. Rob, you hear these comments from Rupert Friend. What to use a worst case scenario? Do you think it's going to be okay? Are you not worried about it in the least? What do you think?
Well, I was worried a little. You know, there was that behind the scenes photo of Emily Blunt as Mary Poppins visiting Luke. That was a little weird. So I was like, I know they wanted to bring her back to do another Mary Poppins thing, but I thought that was kind of strange. But as long as she straightens Luke out as his first mentor, whatever. But no, I mean, look, I think that what he's doing is now there is a feeling and a thought amongst people that aren't necessarily steeped in fandom or movie punditry or whatever, watching online videos, that saying things like cameos, those are considered by the general population as something that's attractive to fans. So it's almost like a buzzword that people say, yeah, you're never going to believe who shows up. And if it is, but for them, they think it's a good thing. They don't know the difference. And, actors aren't exactly, some actors are, but, Rupert Friend doesn't strike me. He's had a great career. He doesn't strike me as somebody who's like, I can't believe it as a lifelong Star Wars fan when so-and-so showed up. I think he's just saying something that he thinks appeals to the fans, or maybe he's been told to say, if somebody asks you, just say that there's some really intriguing cameos. So it doesn't bother me. I'm hoping that this show is great. I think the Obi-Wan, this series was pre-developed as a feature film for years before they decided to make it into a series. So I think it probably has a pretty sound story. It looks like it does. And I'm excited for it. I mean, regardless of whether there are cameos or not, I think this is I think a real watershed moment for Star Wars. Coming off the Book of Boba Fett, you're going back to a legacy character that goes all the way back to the beginnings of Star Wars in 1977 when Alec Guinness played him, and Ewan McGregor is coming back, giving it, because Lucas directed Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, so there's legitimacy to this character, this portrayal that you can't get anywhere else, and I think that they realize how important this is. So I'm excited for it, dude. Everything we've seen from it, the brief bits, look great to me, and Rupert Friend is a great actor. I really like him a lot, and if he's a bad guy, that alone is going to make me watch this show. So I am excited. This doesn't do anything to move my needle, because my needle was already, it was pointing in the right direction.
Needle.
Thank you, Rob.
My needle is
Thank you.
It's high up there on the odometer.
Gotcha. Yeah, the enthusiasm level's already high. Chris, you hear this story, you hear this quote from Rupert Friend. I mean, yeah, you could take it in a little bit of a concerning way. How do you view it, and where's your anticipation? Where's your needle right now for Obi-Wan?
My needle is very high. That said, this does give me pause, because I don't want it to have those kind of Boba Fett moments of, hey, but look at what we did. There's 2 bars on Tatooine, and we're in one of them that There's 2 bands. Oh, my goodness.
And Machete's here, everybody.
Yeah. And I do love Danny Trejo, though. I wasn't too mad about that one. But yeah, I don't want too many cameos that take me out of the universe. I don't want too many moments of, oh my gosh, there's that person from this place. Oh, because when Star Wars gets very, very Dickensian and everyone knows everyone and they're all connected to each other, I kind of lose interest, because it's a vast galaxy. Why do all of you have some kind of relation? So I'm really, really hoping that the little Easter eggs here are more things that maybe go out to the extended universe. Maybe we get some Easter eggs that refer to the novels.
Now, that would be cool.
That would be really fun. So if we had those little things for, hardcore Star Wars fans to go, oh, yeah, that's totally this thing. Oh, that's that thing that Mara Jade said once. If we have some of those kinds of elements in there, I think that's a more intriguing thing to do.
But would Rupert Friend know that?
Probably not.
Yeah.
But maybe, but probably not. But if there are just little things in there, that'd be nice. If we're all just doing a whole bunch of, I don't know, measuring our metachlorians, or everyone knows Max Rebo, I'm not super into it.
Let's all measure our metachlorians.
Let's all measure our metachlorians together, children.
I do want to see Dex. I want to see Dex.
But that's had nothing to do with Tatooine.
Why does it? Oh, you don't know. He might have come and opened a restaurant. They might have been in contact together. Because
Tatooine's a great market for
Obi-Wan needs somewhere to go. We can get messages out to the outside world. And why not have Dex do it for him?
What about where do they go when they want to do some trading? Who should they see if they want to do some trades or?
We need some finance.
I do have a question.
Jabba the Hutt would still be around.
Yeah.
That's very true. Is Jar Jar a character that is so polarizing that Jar Jar could not be redeemed in an Obi-Wan series?
Well, here's the thing. They call it canon, but let's face it, nothing is canon anymore.
Yeah.
But in a aftermath novel, which they consider canon, they call canon, there is a very sad.
It's bleak.
It's a very, very bleak and heavy kind of postscript on what ultimately happened to Jar Jar Binks.
No.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really, and basically, I can't remember what world it's on, but on some world, basically everybody hates him because they blame him for the rise of the Empire, because standing in for Padme, he's the one who proposed giving Chancellor Palpatine all the powers, which opened the door for him to take power and become the Emperor. But the story finds him as a street performer, like juggling and doing tricks on the street for food, and people ridicule him and whatever. And then I think he makes friends with a child, and then I think something bad happens to the child. I can't remember too. But and then it just goes away from that. It doesn't resolve anything. He just says, this is what ended up with Jar Jar.
Yeah, look what you did, everyone.
I mean, I honestly think it was a living metaphor for kind of how Jar Jar was seen by the fans.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And treated.
Yes, because Jar Jar, and by the way,
actors treat
I've met
horribly.
Ahmed Best, and Ahmed Best, super nice guy.
Yeah.
I never understood, like, Jar Jar as a character sucked. I'll never understand why anybody gave Ahmed Best a hard time about
No.
that.
Yeah.
He was hired as a performer to come in and give life to something as it was written on the page.
And
And
as
he
he
did
was
it.
directed.
Yes, and he did it. I don't know. I'll never understand why people gave him shit for it, or gave the kid who played young Anakin,
Jake Lloyd.
Jake Lloyd.
I never understand why people give Jake Lloyd a hard time about it. It's like, oh yeah, because that kid wrote the lines that he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that. Let's give the kid a hard time. At any rate, I can't imagine them bringing Jar Jar into this.
Someone just wrote in, heartbreak feels good in a place like Tatooine. How dare you, Star Trek?
Totally heard that in Nicole
Star Trek
Kidman's
wishes it was
voice.
Star Wars. How dare you?
Yeah, I can't believe for a second they would ever revisit that. It's like, we don't. It's the Encanto thing. We don't talk about Jar Jar.
I was only wondering because there's a little Jar Jar Easter egg in the Lego Star Wars game that just came out, and it just got me thinking of like, oh, would we ever see him again?
Well, I started on. I shouldn't have. I should have started on episode 4 with the Lego game, but I started at episode 1. So it's all like the whole first part of the game. You're on Naboo with the Gungans, and so you're running around with Jar Jar Binks and doing also more than a little Easter egg to Jar Jar in it. But what was the Easter egg in?
In like the little Palpatine cloney chambers, there's a Jar Jar that kind of plays into that like Sith Lord idea, which I love.
By the way, that was the most ridiculous fan theory of all time, but might have been a little bit awesome if it turned out true. That Jar Jar ends up being a Sith.
There's still time, baby.
There's still time. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about these words from Rupert Friend talking about cameos and Easter eggs galore? Does it make you a little bit worried? You're like, nah, that's nothing. That's just an actor being enthusiastic about it. We are only about 6 weeks away from Obi-Wan. I'm super excited. What do you guys think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. You know, the one with the delightful ads with good Canadian kid Ryan Reynolds. So look, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. And guys, that's no joke, because for years I've been using one of the major providers and it was fine. But I switched over to Mint Mobile a little while ago. The service has been fantastic. And the big difference is I'm now paying about 1/3 of what I was paying before. And the best part for anybody who just hates their phone bills is that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to the good folks at Mint Mobile for giving me my new phone service and for being a sponsor of this episode of the John Campea Show. Just a reminder, guys, all the sponsors of today's episodes, we've got links to them with the special promo code Campea attached to it. When you go and support our sponsors, you're actually supporting the John Campea Show. So thanks to all of our sponsors, and thank you to you guys for checking them out. All right, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This comes from Minecraft Dad. Hi, John, Chris, Ray, and Rob. It looks like Jason Momoa is going to be Blockaman.
Pretty good.
All right. According to a Variety article I read, he's starring in an upcoming Minecraft movie. My kids love this game, and I enjoy playing it with them, and I'm interested to see what they do with this. Have you heard of this project? What do you think of Momoa in this role? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. Have I heard of this project? No, I think I have. Listen, we've all thought for a long time, though, with the mind-boggling success of Minecraft, that at some point we were going to get a Minecraft movie. I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. We've heard Jason Momoa being attached to a lot of WB projects, and this would be a Warner Brothers project. Going all the way back, I think he was going to be in a Frosty the Snowman live-action thing, which actually may still be on the books.
I would watch a movie where Jason Momoa played Frosty the Snowman.
Just a snowman doing a haka? Come on.
I would, with his tongue, you know.
The sexiest snowman ever made.
How would the problem would be he'd melt because of his own height?
Look at that. Boom. So, yeah, the story has come out now that Warner Brothers is doing a Minecraft movie, but I never would have put this together. A Minecraft live-action movie with Jason Momoa starring in it. This comes to us from the folks at Variety, write the following. From the watery kingdom of Atlantis to the dangerous deserts of Arrakis, Jason Momoa may be heading to the video game world of Minecraft for Warner Brothers. Variety has confirmed. The Aquaman and Dune stars in talks to join a live-action movie based on the massively popular Minecraft video game, which is the best-selling game of all time, with more than 238 million copies sold since its release in 2011. That's mind-boggling. That's just dumb. Jared Hess, known for directing Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre, and more, will helm the film. Mary Parent and Roy Lee, who we know, will produce. And once again, that comes to us from Variety. All right. Unlike a Wonder Twins movie, I will not say for why here, because, I mean, again, this is arguably the most popular video game like ever made. This is nuts. And I've never played it. But I've got a bunch of buddies who have. And you look online. It is no joke. Like, the active communities revolved around the Minecraft game. Not only have I never played it, I don't even know what the game is. I mean, obviously I can
It's
recognize
many things, John.
I mean, I don't. Is it a first-person shooter? Is it like Animal Crossing, where you're just building a little town? Is it?
It's all
an
of those
adventure.
things.
Is it? Like, honestly, I honestly don't know.
It's different things to different people.
See, but maybe that's what makes it so special to so many people. So the concept of going here now, you may be thinking, why the hell would you make a movie about Minecraft? Whenever, and I get it, I relate, but I take us back again a number of years ago to when they said they were doing a Lego movie. So, well, how do you make a movie about square plastic blocks? And they made a wonderful, wonderful movie out of it. Granted, it wasn't live action.
Yeah, that's the problem here. I think the big problem here is that it's live action. I don't know how that's going to translate, or how that you'll even see a game out of this live action, because Minecraft, the style is just so unique to its own. Like,
Well,
I mean,
I would look at Free Guy. You know, Free Guy was.
true.
I mean,
That's a good example. Yeah.
I think I read somewhere, I heard somewhere, I don't know how I heard this, but Roy Lee was playing these video games, the Lego video games, and that was what made a light go off, and he was enjoying the games, thinking, "Oh my God, like you, John, how do you make a story out of Lego?" But the games sort of pointed the way. And I think something like Free Guy, you could look at Free Guy and go, okay, that's essentially a live action. I mean, it's a video game, but it looks, you could do, what if there's, Minecraft people that exist in a Minecraft universe, And it's like Jason Momoa is a guy that maybe I want to break free. I don't like living in this regimented brick-like world.
It's just going to be kind of like the Barbie movie.
The trailer.
I mean, but the one of the things though is that isn't one of the entire identifying pieces of DNA about Minecraft is that it's a blocky 8-bit kind of thing.
Yep.
So like, is this going to be like a reverse Roger Rabbit?
See,
where Jason's running around? I mean,
that's why I see your Free Guy and I raise you the live action Super Mario Brothers.
Woo!
Hey,
we went there. She went there.
Wow.
Whoa.
I mean, that's like saying,
That's throwing the gauntlet
that's
down.
like saying that you can't do DC movies because of Steel.
Well,
with
no, because there have been a
Shaquille
ton of DC movies.
No, I know.
Other than
That are getting
Steel.
ratings close to Steel, though. So, and I love Mario. I'm wearing them right now. But, I mean, that movie tried to do live action, and then they just committed to terrifying prosthetics and really bad effects. And that's what I hear when I hear live action Minecraft, is Momoa going to have a weird square jaw prosthetic?
There he is.
What? There we go. There he
yeah.
is. I don't understand why you'd go live action. The Roger Rabbit treatment makes sense to me a bit, but this is the biggest for why of the day for me.
This game would look so cool as an animation.
Yeah.
You attach the right voice actors or like just even anything. It would make a cool animated movie. I'm just gonna tell my story real quick with Minecraft. So Xbox One, they had a demo up, right? And it had a counter for 2 hours. So I'm like, I'm going to try Minecraft. I downloaded it. I played it. It felt like, 5 minutes, and my time was up. And it said, you can't play no more. And I was like, what the heck was I doing the past 2 hours? I was just running around building stuff, and there was cows, I think, in it. It was a long time ago. Anyways, I ended up buying the game for $15. And then I never played it again. But I bought it because I was like, I'm going to play this more. And I just never got around to it. So,
by the way, back in the day, I don't know if they still do this. I don't recognize that they do. But back in the day, it used to be a big thing with video games. They would release the first 2 levels. I remember when a Heretic would come out and it'd be you can play the first level of Heretic, or Warcraft 2. You could play the first 3 missions or something like that. Do they still do that? I don't think they do.
They
that
do.
anymore.
Streaming does that right now. Streaming has that strategy.
Oh,
where
really? So
They'll
on
give you the
Steam
first
or
episode
something?
of Halo. They put it up on YouTube. I know that. So there's stuff that's going on that's like it.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll get a demo of a game
Yeah.
too, just to test the waters.
But with this, I don't know what to think of this story.
Yeah.
Without having some kind of framework of understanding how they're going to do it. Is it going to be this environment, this world right here, and the live action green screen Jason Momoa going around with a real pick and going, or is it going to be all live action with these beautiful 3D rendered desert landscapes? And I think I got to get an idea first about what is it going to be before I can have an opinion.
What if it's a cartoonized Momoa, like Wreck-It Ralph?
But it
Like
says
they
live
stylize it. Oh, yeah, true. But that would be cool, though. I think that would be cool. I don't know.
I mean, could you go a Scanner Darkly kind of route? And
That's an interesting idea.
So it's live action, but also animated. So it's just, I don't understand that.
I don't either. This
Yeah.
is going to hurt my head.
Yeah.
I don't know, but hey, guys, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I was intrigued. I don't know. Question is for you. What do you think about this idea? Jason Momoa doing a live action Minecraft movie. How? What is that even going to look like? They must have a killer idea.
Yeah, I want it to happen just because I now want to see what this movie's going to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
That's
trying to
fair.
see
I'm
what
kind of
the
it.
concept is. So, guys, what do you think about this? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
This is from Johnny Shaliv. Hey, John and crew, hope is all well. With everything that's going on, Doctor Strange 2, got my tickets, Thor's 4 new trailer, Doctor Strange Who, Sonic 2, and more, it seems like a little movie that's coming out this weekend flew under the radar. The unbearable weight of massive talent is coming, and first critic reviews are here. It currently stands at 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, granted with only 50 reviews at the moment. Do you plan on watching this? What do you think about the reviews? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And I remember, first of all, we heard about this movie a long time ago, but it was at the last CinemaCon. And again, we want to remind you guys, we are the whole crew, the whole team. We're going to CinemaCon next week, and we're going to be doing
Vegas, baby.
Daily videos from there, giving you full updates and reports and all the screenings, all the previews, the whole year of movies coming out. They're going to be doing for us. I really do. I think they're going to give us a big Deadpool thing. I think they're going to do a big Deadpool announcement. I think we're going to see Avatar 2 footage. They're going to show us the entire movie of the new Top. Anyway, I'm getting very excited for CinemaCon.
Me too.
It was at the last CinemaCon that they showed us, the first audience to show us full big footage from the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the Nick Cage movie. And while everybody was very excited about it, I was a little skeptical because I was like, okay, this looks like it could be really fun. It also looks like it could be really bad. Like unbelievable, unbearable weight of awfulness bad. And I didn't know which way it was going to go. Could be a coin toss for me. So I haven't really been all that excited about it up until now. Then we started to hear some of the first festival screenings, and we heard some people saying, it's really good. It's like, okay, that's the first festival reactions. I still remain a little skeptical. Well, now the full reviews are coming out for this movie that opens this weekend. And the reviews are great. Right now it is holding. Granted, with only 51 reviews, but it's holding a 96%. Once you get into the 50s of the reviews, you get a general idea where the score is going to end. It can go up and down, but it won't drop any lower than like 83 or 84 at this point with already 50 reviews in. It could go a little bit higher, but you're getting a general idea. 96%. 96. Now, not everybody's loving it. For instance, the guys over at the Globe and Mail, what did they say? The critic of the Globe and Mail said a cheap, crass, and ruthlessly sloppy skewing of celebrity culture, or skewering of celebrity culture that is barely a millimeter above the material it thinks it is so sharply satirizing. His new film is the definition of a disappointment. Okay, that's one guy. But Perry Nemiroff, who I worked with for many years, everything you'd want from a buddy action movie starring Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage, and so much more. Entertainment Weekly said a loopy, fourth wall shattering goof of a movie whose showly meta premise is mostly cover for a sweet and surprisingly conventional non-action comedy. Screen International said, a satire of Hollywood ego, a loving tribute to Cage's hair-triggering intensity, and a consistently funny bromance. Massive Talent doesn't overstay its welcome. It's only hour and 45, Ray. You're going to like that. Doesn't overstay its welcome or get even too pleased with itself at the same time. Anyway, 96% right now with like 50 some odd reviews. It's looking good. And I got to say, okay, I'm starting to get a little bit excited because I knew this thing could be great or terrible. Hearing now from the majority of critics that it leans towards the great end, that's exciting to me. Now, of course, I'm not rushing out to see it because there's another movie opening this weekend that is my remaining number one most anticipated film of the year, which is The Northman. I'm going to go see that first. But not long after seeing The Northman, I'm going to go out and see this because it sounded pretty good. Chris, you're hearing the reviews now coming in, 96% for this thing. What have you been thinking about this movie? Have you been excited for it? And what do you think about the reviews we're hearing?
I'm so freaking excited about this movie. That little thumbnail of Pedro and Nicholas together is so precious. Look at how pure that is. That's friendship, everybody. Pure, unadulterated friendship. I love it. I am so excited about this, and this is what I'm going to see before The Northman, because I need you guys to tell me if people's eyes get gouged out and things like that, because eye violence freaks me out. I think this is going to be delightful. And honestly, I think based on these reviews, too, that this is going to be my kind of movie. Because some of the ones that are negative are just saying it's not the kind of skewering they wanted. I don't need this to be a skewering. I do need this to be a satirical look at celebrity and the kind of grandiose pedestals we put celebrities on and allow them to fall from. And I think that's what this film is going to do, is take a look at the kind of persona we've all built around Nicolas Cage, the kind of myth that he's capitalized upon for himself. And I think it's going to be his John Malkovich, honestly. I'm very excited about it.
By the way, can we mention just how we are kind of living in the Pedro Pascal age?
I'm so here for it.
Like, I mean, everything from obviously Mandalorian, he's got The Last of Us coming, which I'm super stoked about. This thing looks like it's going to be a big. I don't know how many people are going to go see this movie. Like I don't have a very good gauge on the box office. I do know that I don't think a hell of a ton of people are going to go see The Bad Guys, and I don't think. And
I was just looking at the reviews for that right now.
How are the reviews for The Bad Guys?
It's 92%.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Out of 39 reviews?
Well, and that's one we might see at CinemaCon too, right?
It's an hour and 40 minutes.
No,
too.
because it opens in
No?
theaters this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're not going to see that at CinemaCon.
I'm going to watch The Bad Guy.
But I don't
going
think
to.
a whole ton of people are going to go see that. And unfortunately, I don't think a whole ton of people are going to go see The Northman. So, I mean, I don't know how this is going to do, but it's interesting. Rob, you're hearing these reviews. What has your perception of this movie been? Because it is kind of a strange one. And what do you think about the reviews we're hearing?
Well, I have a little bit of a background of making a movie about somebody who's playing themselves in a film. And I want to see this for that particular reason, because it's not the easiest thing. You'd think it would be an easy thing to do, but you also have to come up with a story. I love the trailers for this movie. I've always loved Nicolas Cage. He looks like he gives it his all. The fact that he agreed to be in this movie in the first place says something about him, and it looks like it's great to me. You know, I just want to point out, John, if you think about what we've got in theaters right now, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and The Northman. These are not sequels. These are original visions. They're all in theaters this weekend. They're all worthy of, I think, support. You've got the filmmakers that made Swiss Army Man making Everything Everywhere All at Once. You have Robert Eggers doing The Northman. It's pretty amazing that there are 3 movies in theaters, and I really want to see this movie, that are unique visions. I think for all of you who like movies, go out to the theaters and support all 3 of these movies. If I could make that plea.
I was going to say that the choices this weekend for movies is like all over the place. So
Yeah.
it's a good weekend for movies.
Yeah, it's a good
for the movie
weekend
theaters.
for cinephiles. And you know what? Kudos to see Nicolas Cage. I mean, there's always think about how long. I think back to Rumblefish. Nicolas Cage. Coppola made the S.C. Hinton adaptations.
Yeah.
He did The Outsiders and Rumblefish in Tulsa at the same time. He made one right after the other. And Nicolas Cage is in Rumblefish as Nicolas Coppola. You know, and to see where he's come now, we're 39 years into his career, and we get this, and I think that's pretty astounding. I mean, he's been giving us great entertainment, whether it's Leaving Las Vegas, which he won an Oscar for, and Vampire's Kiss, which he was hilarious in, Con Air, which dude,
didn't he get a nomination for adaptation?
I think he did. I mean, the guy has had an amazing career. So to see this movie come out that celebrates everything Nick Cage, that's pretty cool.
You know what I still think of?
Face Off.
No, well, Face Off's another great one.
Good.
Like one of the greatest lines, I know I've said 1,000 times on the show, one of the greatest lines in cinematic history was Nick Cage saying, if I asked you, no, wait, let me rephrase. If I let you suck my tongue, would you be grateful? And in a way that only Nick Cage can say it. But then The Rock, I love The Rock. It's like one of my favorite action films. But I don't know why, forever and for always, when I think of Nick Cage, the first performance I'll think of, and it's not even as Big Daddy, and I love him as Big Daddy, Moonstruck.
Oh, he's incredible in
So
Moonstruck.
good in
So good at
Moonstruck.
that, dude. I mean, think about it. If you look at think about his career, people think he's been sort of relegated to direct-to-video movies to pay off his tax bill. But even he came out recently and said, look, I put as much time and effort and of myself into those films as I put into anything I've ever done. Like, he commits to those movies. And whenever you watch a Nicolas Cage performance, look, The Color Out of Space that Richard Stanley directed, which was an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. He was great in that.
That movie Pig that came out this year.
Oh, man.
Was astounding.
Yeah. That was the movie. See, to me, I thought as much as it's a spoof movie and a joke movie, I honestly thought Nicolas Cage in Kick-Ass as Big Daddy. And I get it, it's a spoofy, satire-ish kind of thing, but I really thought he was the heartbeat of that movie. When I went to go see Kick-Ass 2, I'm like, this movie has a Big Daddy-shaped hole in its heart.
Yep.
That's what this movie is missing. I really thought that was the movie that was going to make the world remember, oh my God, that's right, Nicolas Cage is awesome. It didn't. Then Pig came out. And it's like, that seemed to be the movie that made everybody go, oh yeah, like Saturday Night Live does what was it, In the Cage with Cage or whatever it's called. And it's become a little bit of a joke, and he plays into that a bit. But I think Pig was the one that made people go, oh yeah, that's right. He's a multi-nominated Academy Award winning actor. He's fantastic. So I don't know. Let's see. Now look, let's also call what it is. This is not the first time. It's kind of like found footage. It's being done a lot where a famous actor plays a more awful version of themselves.
NPH who's in it, right?
And that's right. And he really started it. Neil Patrick Harris started that whole thing with White Castle, right? That's the thing that kind of started it. Then we've seen it done 100 times recently on Always Be My Maybe with Keanu Reeves playing a total dick version of himself in it. But it happens you did. William Shatner playing William Shatner in your movie Free Enterprise. Playing Bill. In your movie Free Enterprise.
Call me Bill.
I mean, it's been done a lot. That's part of the reason why I was like, I don't know if this sounds so good, but it sounded like it might be great.
No, I think it looks, I mean, the scenes, it looks like it has some really kind of slapstick-ish comedy in it, like that whole thing with the wall, getting over the wall.
That was funny.
It was fun, but
funny.
It does look... I mean, the idea that he's setting himself up like he needs money, they're going to pay you $1 million. And what's interesting about it is it's weird when you watch these kinds of movies where he's playing a real guy, but Neil Patrick Harris, his agent or whatever, is playing his agent and not Neil Patrick Harris.
Right. Or Tiffany Haddish is not Tiffany
Haddish.
not
Tiffany Haddish. I mean, that's always a weird, it's a weird way to go. But I think this is going to be really good.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this upcoming Nicolas Cage film, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent? Have you been looking forward to it? What do you think about these reviews we're hearing from it? Does it make you more excited? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, MeUndies. Now look, if you're anything like me, when you run out of underwear, the first thing you do is you just run to the big store and buy the cheapest pack you can, or you jump online and buy a big bag of some cheap underwear. And it's, as long as it's not uncomfortable, it's fine. And that's the way life was for me. Until I got my first package of MeUndies, and I put on that first pair I got, and I was like, this is how good things can be when you got underwear that's not just not comfortable, but actual comfortable underwear, and that's what MeUndies delivers, and I will never go back. The MeUndies membership is literally designed to make your life easier with free shipping and returns on every order, saving on virtually everything they make, exclusive sales, and early access to their newest stuff. There's kind of no reason not to join. New prints drop monthly, so there's always something new to see, but you can always skip delivery for the month or even cancel anytime, no questions asked. And guys, right now MeUndies has a great offer for my audience. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off. And for a limited time, if you sign up for their free-to-join MeUndies membership, you get 25% off your first membership item. So to get 25% off your first membership item or 15% off your first order and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. That's MeUndies.com/Campea. And a big thank you to the folks at MeUndies for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This comes from Paulo Silva. I just saw a new picture of Gorr from the Thor movie. It seems to be another toy image, but it looks like hot toy quality, almost photorealistic. If this is real, it's easily the best look we've had at the design of the new bad guy. I've never read the comics with Gorr in them, so I don't have any point of reference, but I think he looks awesome. I saw images of what he looks like in the comics, and honestly, I don't think he looks very good in the comics. Why do comic fans want that look instead of this better one?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Paulo. And yeah, listen, we've been starting to get glimpses of Gorr only through toys. Our first glimpse of Gorr in the upcoming movie, being played by Christian Bale, was from the Lego set of the Goat Boat. Obviously not giving us a very good look at what Gorr was going to look like. A better look came from toy packaging with the illustrated art of Gorr. And that, up until today, gave us what is pretty much our best look at Gorr. Now, of course, the Thor Love and Thunder trailer dropped yesterday. I'm still buzzing about it. I watched it like 8 more times last night.
I did too. I went back and watched it.
Oh my God,
good.
that trailer is so good.
It was worth the wait.
Joy-inducing.
Yes.
That trailer is
Well
joy-inducing.
Well put, sir.
And I won't lie to you. At some point, I was doing some work last night, and I just opened up YouTube and just found the old music video for Sweet Child of Mine and just put that on loop for about 3 or 4 times as I was doing my work.
Can I just say, I was reading some Facebook postings where people were like ripping on Guns N' Roses and talk like, yeah. And okay, has our society become so deeply cynical that you're going to go back and make fun of Appetite for Destruction? I mean, come on, man.
Who makes fun of Appetite for Destruction?
I don't know, but this is the
internet. Yeah,
this is the internet. I mean, my God. It's take the win.
Yeah.
Take the win.
Anyway, the trailer is great, and Sweet Child of Mine is great, and Appetite for Destruction is great.
Yes, it is.
But all that being said, we talked about how Hasbro was going to be doing an earnings call the day after the trailer came out, and that certainly happened, and then they released some new information. And we got our look at this Marvel Legends figure of Gorr, the God Butcher, of course, the villain being played in Thor, Love and Thunder. That was not in the trailer. Rightfully not in the trailer. They're going to put him in the by the way, I think that first trailer could come in less than 2 weeks. I think that first trailer could come with Doctor Strange.
Plus, I think it would be spoilerish. I think there might be some spoilerish stuff that I don't necessarily want to know right now.
Well, we'll find out. So our first look at the toy came out, and here's what our viewer was talking about. And it's right here. First of all, very good look at the blade. Now, I don't know what they're going to call it in the movie. I don't know if they're going to call it the Dark Blade or if they're going to actually call it the Necro Sword. Once again, Marvel unofficially referred to Hela's sword in Thor Ragnarok as the Necro Sword. But I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that was ever said in movie. I don't think it was ever referred to.
I don't think so, no.
So even if they refer to it as the Necro Sword outside of the movie, they are still free and clear in movie canon to refer to the blade as the Necro Sword because, of course, in the comics, that's what it is. Listen, I got to say, I agree. Now, look, I disagree that I think Gorr in the comics looks bad. I don't think Gorr looks bad. I don't think the look of Gorr the God Butcher in the comics would translate great to the big screen. And on top of that, you would have to CGI the character, in which case you're losing out on one of the great performers of our generation in Christian Bale, doing his first comic book movie since he was Batman. And there's something about this look that I really love. There's almost something about a villain who is the humble monk kind of feel to it, right? That is actually quite terrifying. Actually, one of the really good villains, I wasn't huge on The Legend of Korra, the follow-up to Last Airbender. I wasn't huge on it, but they had a couple of those villains that were kind of like the humble monk kind of villains. I'm like, oh, these guys are really work. There's something about that look that I like quite a bit, especially with them dressed in white, with the necro blade and all that kind of stuff. I think with Christian Bale playing this, I think we are in. Obviously, I cannot say this with any kind of certainty because I haven't seen the movie yet. All right.
Right.
I am guessing. I think we are in for a Thanos level kind of villain. And I don't mean power level. I mean like a villain that everybody loves. I think we are in for a truly great cinematic villain here with Christian Bale. Otherwise, I can't imagine the kind of character that would get Christian Bale to break his I'm never doing comic book movies again thing and to say, yeah, I'll play that. I can't, with an Academy Award winning writer, by the way, writing that character. I think this looks really good. I think it's going to be great. All due respect for people who want to look like the comics. But here's the thing. 99% of the people who are going to go see this movie have never seen or read the comic book with Gorr the God Butcher in it. They've never read the story of Gorr fighting the 3 time period Thors all at once, which, by the way, is pretty badass. But no one's ever seen it, so no one's going to care. It was not, it's absolutely, I read this one guy on Twitter saying it was absolutely important that they nailed the look of Gorr and they blew it. No, it wasn't. It wasn't important at all. Nobody's ever seen a picture of him. I mean, speaking in hyperbole, of course. Nobody's seen it, so I think this is good. We're going to get to see one of the great actors of our generation's faces doing this thing. I think this is going to be great. And I wouldn't have had a problem with it if they went with the comic book design. I just think it would have been a shame that they would have overcomplicated it for no reason, and you would have been covering up the facial acting of Christian Bale. But that's just kind of my take on it. Chris, you had a chance to take a look at the look of this figure. We saw some previous looks starting from Lego and then an artist's version of it, but now we're seeing a really good model from the Marvel Legends line. I don't know. What are you thinking about the look?
I think this is cool. I like it. And honestly, I think we would have had some issues if we went with the more comic realistic look, because he'd look quite a bit like Ebony Maw, minus the kind of Twi'lek tendrils that we've seen him in most comic book renditions lately. Otherwise, he's kind of a green character, but there's a Muppety quality to the comic book character. Honestly,
you're not wrong.
It's like Deadly the Muppet, right? The kind of dragony one. There's a snout to it. The mouth is changed, so we would lose a lot of the kind
Muppet
of
who played the Phantom of the Opera when they did their version of that.
Exactly.
Yes,
I love Deadly. But so I do think we would lose a lot of what Christian Bale does best, are those just intense facial expressions, right? So I'm pretty pleased with seeing this. I think he looks rad. He's less Voldemort-y than I had thought in previous renditions, because, in the Lego one, there was much to be left desired.
Yes.
But I think this will be cool. And ultimately, it doesn't really, it might upset some people, it doesn't really matter how he looks. What matters is he giving a great performance? Is he being of service to the story? Are we getting the essence of Gorr the God Butcher, who wants to be baptized in the blood of the gods? That's what I care about, not how his face looks.
Rob, you've had a chance to take a look at it. You're more familiar with the story on this. What do you think about their look we're getting? And again, I'm not saying it would have been a bad thing if they went with a comic accurate look of it, but how important was it or not that they went with it? And what do you think about the new look?
Well, John, as you know, I've said this a lot on the show. I think one of the great strengths of the MCU is how they've translated their characters from page to screen. I don't think there's ever been a pantheon of characters like what the MCU has done. I remember the final iteration of Captain America's costume in Captain America: The First Avenger. When he's fighting in World War II.
Right.
That was clearly Captain America, but they reimagined it to look like it could be an effective battlefield costume. And yet it was still Captain America. And this is after they had already given us on his USO tour that classic Cap look from the comics. No one has done a better job of translating their characters in terms of their look from page to screen than the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done. I'll bet you, like you said, while the character does not look exactly like he does in the comics, and I don't think pretty much any superhero, I think the closest you could come is Christopher Reeve as Superman. If you made Gorr the God Butcher look exactly the way he did, translated him exactly the way he was in the comics to live action, and it is Taika Waititi, even for Taika Waititi, it would be a little goofy. A little goofy. Well, you might be able to make it work.
Well, Eagles fan posted a theory of how it could work, of the more he kills, the more alien he becomes.
That's interesting.
That could be really cool.
All right, I could buy that.
But
that could
I think
be fun.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea, but I think the way that we've seen him look, like in these toys, he looks badass. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's in a movie that I want to see. And it, like you pointed out, it's Christian Bale. He's an exciting performer. You don't want to slather his face with something. The interesting thing about Thanos is he looks like Josh Brolin. You could see Josh Brolin's face in Thanos. And while they weren't going to go CG, I don't think they were going to go CG the way with Christian Bale. But that character looks really cool.
Yeah.
And he looks formidable. And I think when he starts wrecking shop, as we've speculated, maybe he comes to Olympus and kills Russell Crowe. Who knows? Mm-hmm. When that character, the way it's designed now, comes swinging that blade with a bloodlust in his face, I'm scared, dude. I'm scared. I'm scared already, and I haven't seen him on camera at all, other than, come on.
And there's something about the simplicity of the look of the character as well. That I think is going to let you really, because I get it. Look, we're used to Marvel with all the 7 different bright colors and all the ornate detail. A villain in a simple white robe with the necro sword in his hand.
Dude.
That's all I need.
Killing gods.
Killing gods. That's pretty badass. I want to go over to Ray and ask him, because Ray, you were actually working on, thumbnails with this character and everything. What do you think about the look of Gorr? Is it working for you, not working for you? What do you think?
It works. It kind of reminds me of, at least this picture I'm looking at from the side of the Marvel Legends box, there's a little Drax to him, but I do dig like the little scars he has. If those are stitches or scars, it tells you those things tell you a story about what this guy's been through already without even opening, saying anything. Other than that, I can't wait to see him in this movie. How does he do his voice? Is it going to be the Batman voice?
Gonna yell, "Swear to me, Thor."
Swear to me, Thor.
Or is he going to be more Patrick Bateman?
Rachel! Wanda! No. Yeah, he looks fine, I guess. I wait for the movie. I mean, it's probably going to look way better than any of these toys, obviously.
Oh, I agree. Once we actually see some life, like the life that Christian Bale's going to breathe into it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, guys, question is for you. I know this is going to divide some people who pretend that they've read the comics, but what do you think about the? I don't know. I think of I almost made Chris spit up her.
Almost a spit take.
And she turned towards me.
I know.
No one there. She went towards me. I'm the first choice. So and Rob too. Watch.
Well, she'd have to be. That's a powerful blast.
Yeah, like she's like right beside
That's
you. Anyway,
a powerful spit take.
question for you guys is, what do you think about this new look we're getting of Gorr the God Butcher? I personally think it's great. We'll see how it turns out on screen. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 5. Chris, what is our 5th main topic today?
Our 5th topic comes from Augie. We're only about 2 weeks away from Doctor Strange 2, and I feel like my head is going to explode. I'm so excited. Okay, I wanted to ask you guys about mutants and X-Men. A lot of people are saying Doctor Strange 2 is how they're bringing them into the MCU. But how? I was hoping you guys could break down how Marvel can use this movie to bring the X-Men and mutants in. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, listen, the topic of the mutants and the MCU has been a hot topic ever since they made the announcement that Disney was looking to acquire Fox. Now, once the deal was made, everybody said, next movie, here they come, X-Men. But next week, no, they're not coming. And since that time, every single MCU movie that has come out, there has been legions of online fans said, this is the movie where X-Men are going to show up. And they don't, and they don't, and they don't. Still, one of my favorites of all time was when Infinity War was coming out. We've talked about this before. And the first image of Thanos came out. It has those 3 scars, right? And everybody confirmed Wolverine in the new Infinity War, but it wasn't a joke. They were like, it is serious. Wolverine. What? Because Wolverine has 3. That's what he got. Wolverine gave him those. It's like, of course he's not. Look, and once the acquisition was made, Kevin Feige was very quick to come out and say, look, we're not going to rush in mutants. I got the next 5 years planned out. Then we'll look at mutants and X-Men. And nobody believed Kevin Feige. Nobody believed him when he said that. I've got the next 5 years kind of mapped out. Then we'll worry about X-Men. And for years, I kept reminding people of this. Listen, maybe they could come up in this next movie. Yes, but Kevin Feige told us that he wasn't going to just shoehorn them into his existing plans. And nobody believed him. But guess what? We're about 5 years since that acquisition. And we already know that Patrick Stewart is definitely in this movie. Like, we saw him and we heard him. Well, we saw him from the back of his head a little bit, but we heard his voice. We know he's in it. Patrick Stewart has since confirmed, yeah, that's him. He's there. So there we go. So how can Doctor Strange now be the vehicle, the avenue, the conduit, if you will, of bringing the X-Men and the mutants into the existing MCU? Well, to address this, let's jump over to the Campea classroom for a second. Let's look at a couple of ways that Doctor Strange 2 can bring in the mutants and the X-Men. Option number 1, simple. They don't. I mean, that's the first one we got to talk about here. And how does Doctor Strange 2 usher the mutants into the MCU?
Occam's razor would say you're right there.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly right. I mean, it's like we have to acknowledge that it is a very strong possibility that guess what? Doctor Strange 2 has a lot of story to tell. And it's a 2 hour and 6 minute movie. They don't have time to be now opening up another entirely new thing to be talking about bringing in X-Men. So I think the first option we actually have to look at is they don't. They simply don't. And
that's it.
and that will do it for this topic. Now, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're all done. All right. Let's look at a couple of other possibilities. Okay, so the number one we got to acknowledge is they don't. Another one is this, is pulled from another reality or another universe, multiverse of madness, blah, blah, blah. This has been a standing theory for a long time, right? That there's going to be another universe where there are mutants and stuff like that, and then those get pulled in to the existing world. Now, this wouldn't be terribly unlike what they did with CW's Arrowverse. Now, I ditched on the CW Arrowverse, but they had multiple realities, all that kind of stuff, and then they all kind of got merged into one reality, one existing world, right? So that could be one of the elements that they use in this, that a reality gets open that has mutants, that reality gets merged in this one. That's a possibility. Another possibility is that mutants are created. That mutants as a race actually come into creation at this point. We have talked about this before. Rob, you and I in particular have discussed that it would be a play on the classic, Wanda's uttering no more mutants to a reverse of that, where Wanda actually brings mutants into existence. That's not one that's high on my ladder of the ones that I think of the possibilities, but the idea that within Doctor Strange, mutants get created, that is definitely one of the ways that we could see Doctor Strange bring mutants into the MCU. Another one, which is a long-standing theory, mutants have always been here. I mean, that's a long-standing theory as well, that Doctor Strange doesn't actually have to bring mutants into the MCU. We are going to find out in Doctor Strange that the mutants have been here all along. And that whether it's Professor Xavier using his various technology, Cerebro and whatnot, has just been made the world forget about mutants. Now, of course, I've always said that the big problem with that theory is the next teenager that accidentally their mutation manifests, well, now Professor X has to wipe the world's memory again. 5 minutes later, when another mutant does something somewhere, he's got to wipe the world's so his whole day is taken up. He's a very busy man. But still, the concept that the mutants have always been here is a concept that could be introduced in Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness. Then we need to get into one that I kind of like the most, is that mutants were here. Wanda already took them out of existence. This is my favorite theory to date. The theory works something like this. Within the comics, Wanda utters the famous words, the most famous word she's ever said as a comic book character, "No more mutants," which created for a while in Marvel the just expunging of all mutants, other than, how many did they say were left in the world? Like after that,
like
I think
250 or something.
Yeah, right? And that was it. Like the thousands and thousands of mutants were gone. The theory runs something like this, that Wanda, who in every universe is a threat and a villain, that Wanda at some point in her pain in our world's history, something happened and she uttered the words, "No more mutants," and all the mutants were taken out and everybody forgot. And the existence of the MCU now, as they look back on their history, because that's the way everybody in the MCU remembers their history, a world with no mutants. But the reality is they were there. And Wanda at one point freaked out, uttered the words "no more mutants," changed the course of the world. And now she's starting to go a little crazy again. Again, I don't know, but that's a good one. So The ones I'm going to have on the list right now is, how does Doctor Strange bring in the mutants? Well, option number 1, they don't. Option number 2, they're pulled in from another reality. Option number 3, mutants get created in this thing, maybe by Wanda, maybe somewhere else. Another option we'll find out in this in Doctor Strange, that mutants have always been here, or that mutants were here and Wanda at some point had taken them out of existence, changing the world's, and wiping out the world's memory of them. So that's a bunch of the ones that I've got on the docket. Rob, which of these kind of play into you, and do you have other theories that we should be adding to this list and taking into consideration?
No, I mean, I look, in all probability, they're not going to deal with mutants in this movie, but I subscribe to your last theory. We've been talking about this for a long time. When I went back and reread Avengers Disassembled recently, Doctor Strange comes back after Wanda has attacked and destroyed the Avengers, essentially, and killed some of them, and explains what happened. Wanda is using chaos magic. There is no chaos magic. She's looking for her children, which she's looking for. And there are already indications that they've... Look, Kevin Feige's a Star Trek fan. There's an episode of Star Trek called Yesterday's Enterprise, where in that episode, history has changed. The Federation's at war with the Klingons. The Klingons are winning, and they have to change reality back. There's another science fiction film, one of my favorite movies of all time, that was made for PBS. That's an adaptation of Ursula K. Le Guin's novel. It's called The Lathe of Heaven, where a man, on the day of a nuclear apocalypse, he's able to effectively dream the world back into reality after the apocalypse has occurred. And he's living in this reality, and nobody knows that the world came to an end except him. I'll bet you Kevin Feige's seen that too. And then this whole House of M story, I do believe, like I hope, that Wanda, not only has Wanda made, the reason that Quicksilver showed up in Ralph Boner or whatever, that's really her brother. That her parents and her family or something, when she whisked the mutants away, she whisked her brother away as well to save him. The Aaron Taylor Johnson version of Quicksilver was not real. She conjured him up as well. When she sent the mutants away or whatever and it was the shock of her parents dying, all that stuff. Because it would be so cool and so comic booky and so something Marvel would do, and it would show that they've been planning this. And it feeds into, because Doctor Strange in Avengers Disassembled is the person that shows up and tells the remaining Avengers that it's Wanda doing all of this. He's the one that comes out and says, it's right out of the comics, that she's attacking you and she's nuts. And then at the end of that comic, Magneto shows up to take his daughter away. And bruh, if this movie ends with Wanda being a villain and all this craziness happens and Wanda says something about the mutants coming back, and like imagine if she says it and nothing happens, everyone's like looking around going, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean mutants are back? And then everybody remembers and they're looking around and fluttering in the breeze. Magneto descends, and whether it's Michael Fassbender or whatever, can you imagine what's going to happen in a movie theater of Marvel Cinematic Universe fans?
A lot of
Bro,
geekgasms.
I'm thinking about it right now. If that happened, it would be one of the greatest moments of movie-going history. I swear to God. And then Magneto comes down and gets the wounded Wanda, who's on the ground, bloodied, and he scoops up his daughter, and he says, "We will take care of her." Looking at Doctor Strange, and then he rises into the air, savior-like, with his wounded daughter, and goes off. Credits roll. Bruh. Come on, dude. I'm like, imagining this. It probably isn't going to happen. There's probably not mutants in this movie. But it is Wanda.
Well, we already know one is.
I mean, Wanda's a mutant.
Well,
her
Patrick
father's
Stewart-
Magneto.
Patrick
Stewart's
Stewart's
in the movie
so there's
too.
at least one
And we've
mutant there.
already seen Quicksilver. They've been building up to this. And I'll bet you, dude, I just want to see that ending. I want to see, it's all silent. She says mutants or whatever. And everyone's looking around like, what did you do? Like, we don't see anything different. Maybe there's a flash in the sky. And then from like out of the sun, can you imagine, dude?
Like
Come on.
Magneto showing up at the end, I do not believe is that far-fetched of a theory.
And
not just because of the comic connection either.
No, and taking his wounded daughter
Yeah.
and saying, we will take care of her.
Yeah, now remember, in the comics, the superheroes, Professor X, all the heroes, Professor X, the X-Men, the Avengers, they all had to talk about it. They seriously had to have a conversation in the comics. This is iconic, where they had to discuss, we have to put Wanda down. She is simply too dangerous for existence. We may have to kill her. Mm-hmm. And this is when she hadn't gone bad or anything. It's just that, and Professor X was actually having to have this conversation. However, I will say this right now. I am willing to bet whatever you want to make the stakes that Jesse Boner from...
Ralph Boner?
Well, I just call him Jesse.
Oh.
Jesse Boner, because of the sitcom thing, anyway, is not going to be in the MCU any further. They are not going to say that is the real Quicksilver.
I mean, you might be right.
No maybes. I'm willing to bet a hot toy on this. I'm willing to bet we're going to...
Dude, I just got my Aaron Taylor Johnson Quicksilver. I've been looking for him I just got it from a guy in Ireland. Thank you. And I bet
it looks good.
It does, and it's almost brand new. So you're not getting that from me.
What are you guys betting again? On what? That the X-Men are going to be
that the fake Quicksilver from the WandaVision show is not the actual Quicksilver.
Look, maybe I can't say I can't.
Okay.
But I think that
I won't make you. That's fine.
I think that there's more to it than that. I don't think they're playing the long game here. There's more than meets the eye, and I think there's.
Now you're saying
else.
Optimus Prime is going to show up.
Yes.
The Transformers.
Autobots
I mean, everybody else is
assemble
popping
now.
up. Why can't Optimus Prime come through the portal?
Look, man, if Magneto comes and scoops up his wounded daughter and flies
I'm going to
off,
freak out. I'm going to freak out.
Dude, I will cry like I when I saw Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan and Spock died. I haven't cried that much in a movie since 1982.
Chris, let me ask you. We went through some theories here about why we could or could not, how we could see them bring them in. Which one do you lean more towards? Do you have another theory about what they could do? What are your thoughts on it?
So I do love the reversal of House of M, of just simply saying mutants. And I also love if that's more of the conversation then of when you break the rules, you're a hero. When I do it, I'm a villain. Because honestly, what she did in WandaVision was one town. And while that was not great, is that something that's going to have Illuminati repercussions, right? I don't think so. But I think if she sees an opportunity for, I can have my kids, if I bring that kind of timeline into here or that kind of genome into here, then I'm going to bring mutants in. I really, really loved Rob's theory last week of seeing the animated universe, seeing the X-Men 97.
I forgot all about that one.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed
that's what she
with
put
this. And that's where the mutants
She
have
took
been.
all the mutants out, put them in it, and I mean, I swear, if they don't play that, I'm going to riot.
I mean, wouldn't that be? Look, that is so bonkers. And I admit, I actually had somebody, a lovely young fan of the show, contact me and tell me how delightful she thought that theory was.
Yeah.
And when I was saying it, it was off the top of my head, like, wouldn't that be cool? But it is bonkers.
It'd be amazing.
But it would be amazing.
It'd be so good.
Because then the animated series becomes canon.
I
because
believe
that's the reality that they were put into.
And it makes sense, though, it honestly, for the synergy of Disney, because we have X-Men 97 coming and everything. I believe that theory got the response out of me of, shut up, say more words now. So that's my favorite theory right now. Is that they're trapped
a
in the
lot of
X-Men
people
universe.
look. I get that a lot of people want the mutants to always have been here, but
narratively that's problematic. It is tough to say how that could have worked.
But this is they always take their ideas for the MCU out of books. And when I went back and reread, I know I'm stuck on it, but when I reread Avengers Disassembled, I had forgotten Strange's involvement.
Yeah.
When he shows up after the Avengers had been decimated, the Avengers were decimated. They were decimated at the end of Endgame. We lost Avengers. We lost Avengers and Avengers Disassembled, different Avengers. But the Avengers are basically where they were after they were defeated. And it's Doctor Strange who shows up and goes, it's Wanda. And I'm looking at the trailers and I'm like,
I think that would make
not too much of a stretch.
But here's why it's not much of a stretch. Because you could say, yes, but this happens in the comics, and that's clearly not going to happen in the movie. Maybe, but Kevin Feige has always been selective about what he takes from the movies or from the comics and brings it in.
Yeah.
He is not beholden to the comics. He will take ideas and themes and certain points and whatever and leave the rest out. And just because it looks like the movie contradicts some of the stuff there, that doesn't mean you can't take other things from it and bring it in.
And I'll tell you something. If you think about it, it's also the easiest way to bring mutants into the universe and have comic fans love it and have other people's minds blown, because he can go in interviews going, well, you know, in yesterday's Enterprise, or there's all of these things in pop culture where there are timelines. It makes sense.
Yeah. And I know some people are saying, but because of WandaVision, we have to have like Wanda's origin story a certain way. Why? We don't. That was like a recollection of trauma, right? That can be rewritten. And if we have an Illuminati, they one of which can control your mind and put barriers on your memories and alter them, Wanda could have misremembered everything. She could have cast out of her own mind and made it, instead of being experimented on as a mutant, it could have been, I volunteered to go get this experiment done to me and my brother.
If she says no more mutants and wipes mutants out of thing, her own memory of her own origin would have changed.
Exactly.
Of course.
I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. I'm just saying that's
it's
a possibility.
And who better to explain it than Patrick Stewart as Xavier steps out and you actually see it happen. He's explaining this whole thing and you actually see it happen.
All right. Okay. We could literally talk about this all day.
I've excited myself so much.
Very exciting stuff. We are like 2 weeks away from this thing. Guys, question is for you. We obviously know at least one X-Men mutant is going to be in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. Could they bring in more? And if so, what is the way they're going to do to bring them all in? We got a number of theories on here. I'm sure you guys got some other ones. Whatever you guys think they are, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. The super chats are now open, so we're going to go over and start taking your live comments and questions. It's already halfway full, so you got just probably another minute or two to get them fired in. But before we start addressing those questions, let's go over and hear from one more sponsor of today's episode, the great folks over at Keeps. Hey guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of today's video, the good folks at Keeps. Now look, you guys probably already know that 2 out of every 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're just 35 years old. Now that's where Keeps comes in, because Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. That means the guys that use it love it. Keeps offers a simple, affordable, and stress-free way to keep your hair. It's also low cost. Treatments start as low as just $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions for the 2 FDA-approved medications to prevent hair loss. That means treatment plans are affordable, typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. Keeps has everything your hair needs delivered straight to your door with discreet packaging and proven results. Remember, prevention is the key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so the sooner you act, the better. When it comes to your hair, save more, spend less with Keeps. So if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to Keeps, that's KEEPS.com/Campea to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's Keeps, KEEPS.com/Campea to get your first month free. Keeps.com/Campea. And thank you to the good folks over at Keeps for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys. With all that down, let's now go over and start hearing from you guys in the live chat that you guys have sent in. So, Chris, what do we've got lined up here in the live chat?
So we are starting with Whitehawk. Oh, wait. Yes. Our DVKM Rashab sent in a super chat, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Whitehawk, I could have sworn Feige said 5 to 10 years. I think we're still years away from the mutants in the MCU.
No, maybe at some point he said that, but I was there when they were first asking about him and stuff and he specifically said, look, I've already got the next 5 years. He didn't say, I'm not going to do X-Men and for 5 years. What he said was, I've already got the next 5 years kind of charted out. Then I'll worry about mutants. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I've got the next 5 years charted out. So, I mean, yeah, he didn't say, I promise everybody in 5 years we'll have mutants. He didn't say that. So it could be longer. But I think we're going to start seeing X-Men and mutants. And I'm not just talking about Professor Xavier in the Doctor Strange 2 trailer. I think we're going to start seeing them very, very soon. All right. What do we got next?
All right. From Luis Enrique de la Peña. Good morning, everyone. I've come up with other names for the show using your first and last names. The Mock Show, Meyer, Aura, Campea, Cummings, and Chris. Why isn't it my last name? The Cork Show, Campea, Cummings, Aura, Rob, and Chris.
No. No. Part of the reason for that is, look, I don't like to think about it and all, but the reality is Chris can get a full-time job with a full-time acting gig next week, and she's not going to be here. Robert Meyer Burnett might get an offer to direct a movie or something, and he's not going to be here.
I'm not going anywhere.
No,
Come on,
I'm just saying. Like, there's a lot of things.
There is no place more fun than sitting in this room in the mornings with you lovely folks.
Yeah.
I agree, but that does make it a little bit problematic.
You're right.
So yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably can't do that. All right, what's next?
Qui-Gon Gin and Tonic.
I love that name.
Hey guys, with the Egyptian and Greek mythology now joining in the Norse and MCU, who would win in a three-way theoretical battle of the gods?
Hey, whoever the writers want to win. I lean towards the Greek gods. I mean, I'm a Zeus kind of guy. So for me, the Greek gods, you never want to count out the All-Father or any of the rest of them, but I would go Greek gods. Anybody want to throw in a pick?
I don't know, man. The Egyptians love cats. You don't.
Yeah.
That's their weakness.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's what makes
Lady
them-
Bast. She's in the same.
Play on
man.
words. That's what makes them pussies. Get a cat, pussy cat. Okay.
Oh, they're coming for you now.
I
I'm
do
just
think
saying.
the Greeks are out because they're busy just like turning into swans and fucking. So,
Yeah.
they've got other
Yeah,
things to
you
do.
know,
Lots of orgies amongst
Yeah.
the Greek
Zeus
gods.
would get Me Too'd today.
Oh.
Come on
You
now.
would,
All right, what's next?
and rightly so. MP. Is a standalone Lex Luthor movie basically a story where he realizes without Superman, it's up to Lex to save humanity? And he's basically Elon Musk?
I don't think we'll ever see a standalone Lex Luthor movie. I just don't see any possibility of that. I mean, you could go with like kind of a different approach where he becomes like the hero of humanity. I suppose you could, but I don't.
That's Earth 3.
I don't see a lot of interest in something like that. I don't think that would be one that would get
You
made.
need that context around him to.
I mean, maybe it's an animated movie because animated movies within DC and Marvel pretty much suck. So you can do anything you want
This
there.
is true, and
And
it's
animated
so
movies
sad.
are
Oh,
real.
DC movies, animated movies don't suck.
Oh yeah,
Come
they
on.
do. Yeah.
Oh,
Out
my
of the the
God.
20 or 30 of them, I can point to 2 that I really like.
They have been very bad.
Yeah,
They've
I think
been very
I
bad.
like the Flashpoint Paradox.
that's one of the ones that I like.
And the Wonder Woman one was really good.
The one with
I didn't think the
Carrie
Wonder Woman-
Russell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was good, but that was years ago.
Yeah,
It
That's
was
the-
years ago.
Yeah.
And New Frontier was pretty good.
That was
New
pretty
Frontier
good.
was
I
good.
didn't
New
like that.
Frontier.
No?
No.
Oh.
The 2 that I like are the Flashpoint Paradox one.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I shouldn't count the Mask of the Phantasm because that was a theatrical release film. That wasn't a straight to video.
Did you
And
like
that's
it?
Oh yeah, Mask of the
glorious.
Phantasm.
It's really good.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Mask of the Phantasm
Shirley
was
Walker,
really good.
Gorr.
Yeah, the
That's
only
amazing.
one that I had a problem with was the Killing Joke, and there was that one
Oh,
part.
that one was truly awful. But
Just
I mean,
because that one part really
then there
bothered
was
me.
the one that came out recently, the Justice League Apocalypse War.
Teen Titans
That-
Judas Contract. Like I think the ones in the last 10 years, honestly, have been pretty subpar.
But
personally.
look, the fact of the matter is, like to me, and I know different people have different opinions of this. Marvel and DC, when they get, that's an idea. Okay, make it as a straight to home video animated thing. I just find all their straight to Marvel and DC both. I just, yeah. But there are some exceptions. There are some. Oh, you know what else is another one I like? Under the Red Hood.
Oh, that wasn't
yeah,
bad.
Jensen
Yeah,
Ackles is
of course.
great. in
Yeah,
that.
Jensen Ackles is
Oh,
the
he
voice.
does a great
I
job.
really did like that one too. So there are a few, but I feel like they put out 3 every year.
Yeah, and their series are good. I mean, the Young Justice stuff was
You know what I
great.
finally watched too? I watched there was that against my better judgment, I rented that one where Batman wakes up and he's in the samurai era.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
That was pretty cool,
I thought
though.
it was the cool concept. The movie was terrible.
Yeah, the
and then,
movie was terrible.
then again, against my better judgment, I watched Batman something by Gaslight, Gotham by
Gotham
Gaslight.
by
Gotham by
Gaslight.
Gaslight.
That was just like a series of different Batman things that were different animators. It was like a whole bunch of Batman shorts put together, right?
I just find everything Marvel and DC do that straight to home video is pretty useless. Again, on the Marvel side, their Doctor Strange one I thought was pretty good. But
And then, of
most-
course, you love Into the Spider-Verse.
But I will go.
well, yeah, but that's again not
That's
a
a-
straight to home
yeah,
video
feature
thing.
film.
Like that was a theatrical release, like Mask of the Phantasm.
I will say DC animation is better than Marvel's. That's what I could say for sure.
mean
I've
their
enjoyed
direct-to-video
I've
animation?
enjoyed more of the DC releases than Marvel releases.
That's fair.
I think they also put out more.
Yeah, they
I
do.
think probably.
They do.
Yeah,
They do.
A lot more.
All right, what's next?
From Andy, 1 of 4.
Oh, okay.
Last Thursday's episode of Walker, which is filmed in Austin, Texas, was directed by Jensen Ackles.
Oh, nice.
Funny thing was the band Kansas was playing in Austin for one night close to when Jensen started filming. Jensen and Jared got in touch with Kansas, and Jensen filmed them performing Carry On Wayward Son into the episode. Hearing that on TV on a show starring Jared with Jensen directing the episode got me emotional. It spiritually fulfilled the original intent to have Kansas on Supernatural for its series finale.
Yeah, so for those, I bring this up once in a while, for those of you who know anything about this. So I think one of the greatest television traditions was the season finale of every season of Supernatural would do their previously on part with just the words, "The road till now" would appear, and then Kansas's "Carry On My Wayward Son" would play as they just show you clips of the season building up to the season finale. And they did it every year. And then because of COVID, they couldn't exactly do their series finale the way they really wanted to, and they wanted to have Kansas there, and there were problems with it. For having Jensen Ackles, first of all, direct an episode of Walker, which I haven't watched a single thing of.
I fell off it. I tried.
To be there with Jared, is great. And for them to have, I think I would have teared up too. That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that, Andy. Appreciate that, man. All right, what's next?
From Out of Time, 1985. Guys, I truly believe that Patrick Stewart is not playing any movie version of Professor X, but actually a live-action version of the 90s animated series Professor X, complete with golden hover chair. Ooh.
It's not, okay, that's a cool theory Out of Time. I mean, that's a cool theory.
It works with me.
It certainly works with Rob. I am with you when you say it may not be a version of the movies we've already seen him in. I'll agree. I don't think it's going to be the specific Professor X from Logan.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be the specific Professor X from, X-Men 2. That's fine. But I don't think it's going to be a live action version of the animated version. I think if they're going to have the animated version, we're going to get the animated version.
Well, John, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Do you think will we see a hover chair?
I can't answer that. So we're going to stop talking about that right now. We're going to stop talking about
that. We're animated. We're animated.
Just stop.
Our viewer asked.
Just stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. All right. What's next?
From My Comic Planet. John, have you been watching Tokyo Vice? I went to watch the latest episode and noticed that HBO dropped 2 episodes at once. Loving this show.
You know what? No. And I want to.
You got it, dude.
Oh.
Yeah. I got to get on this. I've heard very good things.
The first episode, directed by Michael Mann, brilliant. It's beautifully done.
Did you watch? Because apparently it dropped.
I've watched 3.
So
now the story's still really good, and I read the original book, the nonfiction book. I think it's first of all, I'll watch anything with Japan in it because I'm obsessed with Japan, even though I've never been there. But it's really fascinating. It's the exploration of a gaijin going into Japanese culture and learning how to navigate, which is essentially a very alien culture compared to ours, is fascinating.
I'm actually quite excited. Now, I said when I saw the trailers that everything looked great. I just felt, from the trailers, I felt like Ansel Elgort was a little miscast. But I've heard from people that he's actually really good in it.
He is good. I felt the same way you did, and I was like, meh. But he's good because there's something about him that really works in the show, I think.
All right, what's next?
From Elizabeth Hirado. While watching the Thor 4 trailer for the 10th time, it made me think, what if little Thor is played by Hemsworth's kid? I wouldn't put it past Taika. I think it would be precious.
I like that idea. I've never seen his kid, though. I've no idea if this kid 4, is this kid 8? I just don't have any idea.
No clue.
I know people are freaking out over the classic Thor costume when he's teenage Thor running through the thing. But, I mean, it would be somewhat appropriate if his kid was age appropriate and they actually used his kid. That would be cool.
And the relationship Chris Hemsworth also has one of the great social media presences.
He really does. He's really
you
good.
see him with his kids. What a dad that guy is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. I agree, Elizabeth. I think that could be really special if they did that. Yeah. All right, what's next?
From Ismail. Hey guys, it's game day.
Game day.
And Ismail sends in an almost $20 super chat. So thank you so much.
Ismail.
I'm actually more and more in tune with Rob about Moon Knight. Everything taking place in Mark's mind. I still think that someone is looking for Amit's tomb guarded by some other god.
I mean, the problem is we are now in the second half of the series. We're going into episode 4 tonight. After tonight's episode, we will be we're 3/4 of the way through the series.
We're caught up with everyone who's seen it already.
Yeah. And we're 3/4 of the way through the series. Mm-hmm. I just think the longer we get, because I was a little bit on board at first with like everything we're seeing taking place in Mark/Steven's mind. But I kind of feel like the longer we get in the series, the less and less likely that becomes. So I'm gonna stick now with saying I don't think this is taking place in Mark's head. Although that doesn't mean there can't be elements. But I just think, now look, I will say this. If we're not finding out chunks of this are happening in Mark's head only tonight, then I'm going to say it's 0% chance. But tonight could be that kind of that water breaking moment, I think. Rob, what do you think about that?
I think they're going to pull the wool out or pull the rug out from under us by the end of tonight's episode. And it's going to be, I don't know exactly what it's going to be because, they've borrowed liberally from different eras of Moon Knight. But I think there's going to be something where we're all going to be like, oh, at the end of the episode. What causes us to go, oh, I don't know. But it's going to be one of those things.
And to what Rob's mentioning here, so a bunch of people got shown the first 4 episodes of Moon Knight prior to its release.
Yeah.
But only 4. So I think there is going to be some kind of significant happening here. We'll find out. And then the final 2 episodes is who knows. I cannot wait. Don't forget to join us tomorrow, guys, for our Moon Knight after show tomorrow afternoon. So check us out for that. All right, what's next?
DVKM Rashab. Hey, John and Co. The Avengers will be 10 years old on May 4th. What do you say about doing an episode of Movie Club about it on May 4th, then return to Return of the King the following week? Bring on the filthy.
No, we're doing the we're sticking with the all 3 at once thing, but we will definitely talk about the Avengers.
I can't believe it's been 10 years, dude.
Yeah, right. Still one of the best reactions. I still remember. I mean, everybody's now adapted to it and used to it, so it doesn't have the same effect today. But you got to remember when the first Avengers movie came out, and I still remember being in the El Capitan Theater for the first press screening of it. And when we saw Hulk, it was the first time that we were getting a real version of Hulk. And in that final scene in New York, when Hulk is jumping around and effing everybody up, people were losing their minds in that theater.
Yeah.
Like, it was glorious.
Puny God, too.
Oh, that whole thing. And one of the
good.
best. Exactly. That's one of the funniest moments I think ever in comic books. Hulk and Thor just finished beating the crap out of something. They're standing there going, deep breaths, and Thor going, yeah. And out of nowhere, Hulk just boom and punches Thor across the room. Glorious. But just, it was like the most intense thing. And I remember when all the critics, these jaded, skeptical, whatever critics, everybody came out of that theater. I still remember standing out on the street. What street? Is that Hollywood Boulevard? That's in front of the Gale Capitan? Is that Hollywood?
Yeah, it's Hollywood and Highland.
Come out, and we're all standing on Hollywood Boulevard, and everybody was shaking and buzzing and going like we just couldn't believe what we just saw. It was like the most incredible thing. So yeah, we'll be doing a movie club of that Avengers movie. I still believe the best comic book movie ever made. Like to this day. Certainly, I might go out and say I still think it might be the most important comic book movie ever made. Because like that movie became, while Iron Man came out and the first Avenger came out and the first Thor, which I love all 3 of those movies. But it was that, when you go back, it was that Avengers movie that set, this is the identity of the MCU. That was really the one that kind of established this is what this cinematic universe is. And to me, that kind of becomes the most significant. I mean, you can definitely make arguments for the first X-Men movie. Actually, you make a damn good argument for the first X-Men movie. You can make great arguments for Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. But I think probably the most significant one is that. So yes, we will be doing a movie club on that one. Absolutely. All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw. Following up on my Graham Norton question, look up Ruffalo kissing Meryl Streep and Gosling can't handle Greg Davies' story. Oh, good ones. All right.
Have you seen those?
I've seen Ruffalo kissing Meryl Streep. I need
remember you
to
mentioned
do the
that
Gosling
yesterday,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Davies' story, that's a good one.
Okay, I need to watch that. I love that show.
Not familiar with that. I'll have to look that up.
It's
Thank
so
you for the
good.
recommendation, Al. All right, what's next?
Luis Enrique de la Peña. The Croc Show. Can't be a car. Rob Ora Cummings.
Again, it's a little problematic using individual people's names. Also, like what happens when I sell the network and it doesn't star me anymore? I mean, it becomes a little
I'm
bit
a
of a
shill.
problem.
I leave anytime anyone offers me money.
Yep.
You know?
There you go.
Yeah.
Ray gets some other job. You
Working
get
for
some movie
Lumen.
gig. I
I mean,
yeah.
What about
Lumen.
you? Somebody
at Lumen, Ray at Lumen.
What if somebody offers you $5 million a year? What are we gonna do?
Yeah, well,
We're going to have a very ridiculous show one day.
Man,
Dad won't be here.
I mean, probably the same things that happen to the other shows that I leave. They slowly die and disappear.
Oh man.
So I had to take that. Sorry, you just put that one out there for me like a
You should always
softball.
carry a sleeping bag in back of your car, just in case. I do.
Ray Ora's Guide to Survival.
Hey.
Wow, I mean that's actually. Do you also have like an earthquake preparedness kit in your car too?
No, just a sleeping bag and pillow, just to stay warm at night.
Because you can sleep anywhere, right?
Oh, no.
All right, what's next?
From Tim, favorite non-OT Star Wars story. For me, it's the Darth Bane trilogy.
Look, I hate to be stereotypical, but it's the Heir to the Empire series. I mean, the Heir to the Empire series of books is incredible. I'll tell you what, a couple of years ago, I'm forgetting the name of the actual title. I'm looking at the cover of the book in my head right now, but the actual title of it is something Sith Lords. It's Lords of the Sith. I think that's it. It's the novel that came out. It's basically a story about an assassination attempt on Palpatine's life that ends up stranding Palpatine and Vader on this hostile alien world where imagine the Predator, but instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger being in the middle of a jungle, it's Palpatine and Vader, and they're trying to survive. And it is a wonderful story. Wonderful story. Oh my, it's definitely my favorite of the post-Disney takeover Star Wars novels. So I'd say that one and the Heir to the Empire, or also known as the Admiral Thrawn series. Do you have a favorite Star Wars story that's outside of the OG stuff?
I've got to go all the way back to Splinter of the Mind's Eye because the first time the Kyber crystals were introduced, but it was just mind-blowing to read a new Star Wars story after seeing the movie. Because back then, you didn't know, I think that book came out a year after the original Star Wars came out. You never knew if there was going to be any more. So the fact that there was more, and it was like, oh my God. And of course, you didn't know that Luke and Leia were related then, so it's a little wacky. But I loved it. I was like, wow, that's incredible.
All right, let's keep going. What's next?
From Chase Olivas. Hi, everyone. Can't believe this will be Thor's 4th movie in his series and 8th in the MCU. My question is, will this be the last time we see Thor?
No, I can't remember if something I know came from a public source or came from a private source. So I won't say why then, just to be safe. It ain't gonna be the last time we see Chris Hemsworth. As
No way.
No.
He's been open about saying that he wants to play this character for a long time, right?
Well, I mean, I remember after he did Thor Ragnarok and he talked about the way Taika Waititi kind of revitalized Thor, he said, okay, now I'm interested in the character again. I love playing this character again.
He's clearly having a blast doing it
He
too.
loves playing this guy now.
And just we talked about how funny the whole.
Oh, that was it's one of the greatest funny scenes in a trailer.
he's a deft comedian anyway, and I think he's now getting a chance to stretch a little bit. And who doesn't love him?
By the way, Just Plain Steve put in the live chat something I was about to say. So it's just a shout out to Just Plain Steve. I do think it's the last time we're going to see Korg. I think bad things are going to happen to Korg in this movie. I think it's going to be the last time we see Korg.
Why do I open up my heart? Why do I do it?
Thor is running out of people to lose. So, I think, although that's not based on any insider information, I'm just saying I think this might be the last time we see Korg, but not the last time we see
Pick up your Korg Funko Pops as they're about to skyrocket.
All right, what's next?
From Fifi, imagine this. Wanda says mutants are back. Then suddenly Strange remembers the events of Endgame, but Wolverine and Charles were there. Then we have a montage of all the Marvel movies, but mutants.
See, I think I dig what you're going for here, Fifi, but I think it's further back than that. I think the No More Mutants thing, if that's what they're doing, happens pre-Iron Man.
Yes.
I think it's when Wanda's younger. I think it happens pre-Iron Man. I think everything we have seen in the MCU, starting with Iron Man, and even the events of Captain America, the First Avenger, because that would have been before Wanda was born. I think all that is absolutely the way the world has been. It's just that the world was changed prior to Iron Man. What do you think?
I totally agree. The only MCU movie where mutants existed in the world, but we just didn't know it because we didn't see it, was Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
There were mutants in the world, and that's why Nick Fury didn't have much of a problem. Oh, you're from another planet. Of course you are. Because there were mutants in the world already.
What does that have to do with aliens and other planets?
Well, it wasn't a surprise to him. Because he was used to dealing with other threats. The Skrulls and her and all of that. So that's why he was so able to, he's chilling out with the Skrulls on an alien ship. He's like, have you ever heard of the Shi'ar Empire? Oh, let me tell you, I know who they are.
Right.
They've got ties to Earth.
All right, what's next?
From Chuck the Mystery. Hey, John. Matt Reeves did audio commentary available on the iTunes digital purchase of The Batman. What an auteur. Thursday is game day for the Northman.
Oh, my God. Northman is almost here. Game day, indeed. I cannot wait for the Northman. That's pretty cool because my favorite, we've been talking recently about the special features on discs and things like that. Always my favorite ones have been the director's commentary. Hearing the thoughts of the director and what was going on and whatever as the movie, to me, that's the best special feature.
Are you going to rub in that this is an exclusive to iTunes?
No, I just, again, I think, because here's the reality. Even though it is there here, streaming is not yet, and there have been several great examples. Endgame is a great example too.
I know.
Infinity War, but many movies on streaming do not include special features.
I know, dude.
They need to start incorporating that more. And I'm glad to see that Matt Reeves is doing it. Hopefully over the next couple of years, we'll see them return there because that to me is the major advantage of physical media over streaming.
I just hope when they put out The Batman on 4K that they do include that commentary.
I'm sure they will.
I
can't imagine that they wouldn't.
I don't know.
I hope they do. All right, what's next?
Alan Ling. Hey, John and crew. Oh, and this is an almost $20 super
Oh,
chat.
thank you, Alan.
I have been in defense of Marvel's 6-episode runs, but perhaps Kevin and Marvel Studios should rethink it. Should they put more money into these shows to have more episodes and money to work with?
I just don't. 6 is not a season. 6 is a miniseries.
It's a limited series.
It's a limited series. And so if you want to call Moon Knight a limited series, okay, I'll accept that. But if you're going to call something a season of television, fine. You don't want to do the traditional 22 episodes. Fine. Even though lots of other shows have been able to do that, great. 10, 12. I just don't get what this 6 bullshit is. I'll tell you what it is. It's exactly what you're inferring. It's money saving. It's if we had longer, it would cost more, and we're already putting a lot of money into it. And I get it, but I think the bare minimum should be 8. Mm-hmm. Bare minimum. I mean, really, for me, the minimum number for a true season of television should be 10. But I don't know. It's going to be a debate that goes on for a long time. All right, what's next?
From My Comic Planet, 1 of 2. I watched one of my all-time favorite movies again last night, The Man from Snowy River.
Nice.
Incredible movie starring Kirk Douglas and Tom Burlinson. Some of the best action scenes ever, like the horse down the hill. And the main theme song is iconic, composed by Bruce Rowland. One of the most underrated movies and soundtracks ever. Must watch.
Man, I don't even see his part 2. I'm glad you had it there.
That's a great film.
I
don't own that movie.
No,
I've
never heard a movie brought up that you said you don't have.
I don't. It's funny. I just, is that on disc? I need to order that movie.
maybe it's on streaming.
Oh.
And then you're cool. You don't have to go out and get a disc that you'll never put in your player again anyway.
Oh, no. I'm telling you, man. I'm all about watching my discs now before I die.
Thanks a lot for sending that in, my Comp Planet. What's next?
From James O'Rourke, sending in an almost $20 super chat.
Thank you, James.
The Blair Witch reboot should go meta. Still in the found footage format, a documentary crew films the cast and crew from the original film, or its own version, only to find out it wasn't just a movie.
I'm going to be honest with you, James. My head hurts just reading that. First of all, the original cast is dead, right? That's the thing. They were never found. They disappeared. No one ever heard from them again. So you could be about the editors who found the footage and then edited the movie. Yeah, James, I'm going to say that one hurts my brain. I think that's going too much into the Inception loops. I don't know. Chris, what do you think? Do you think that's something that James come up with could work?
I mean, it just feels very, very convoluted. It could work, I guess.
For why?
Yeah.
I think James, you're right. That is really meta. I think that's going too meta. I don't think anybody would watch it and enjoy it. But I do believe there is a way to do it that it can work today. I'm just not really sure either about a good solution to it. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, though, James. Appreciate that, man. All right, what's next?
Nathan Oswald, over under 10%, we get an Indy 5 tease by the end of the year.
The better question is over under 10% that we get an Indiana Jones movie at all. They have moved the release date, without exaggeration, I believe 6 times. I just don't know we're ever going to see this movie.
It's Spielberg's Flash.
It's not even Spielberg.
Oh.
No, it's James Mangold.
Oh, dang. That's
Remember,
right.
yes, Steven Spielberg was going to direct it, then he left. He's still on as a producer. Yeah. I mean, you got, quite frankly, maybe the best choice for a director to do it if Steven Spielberg's not doing it and James
When
Mangold.
is this supposed to come out now? In 2023?
Ray, can you look that up? What is 20?
Doesn't that mean Harrison Ford's going to be 80?
Yes, he'll be in his 80s.
He'll be in his 80s when it comes out.
And how old was Sean Connery when he played Indiana Jones's dad in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
Indiana Jones 5?
Yes.
June 30.
2023?
Yep.
Yeah. So more than a year away from now. I mean, I just don't know that I believe it's ever actually going to come out. Then again, I thought that for years about Indiana Jones, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And then it did come out. Maybe it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
He was only 58 when he played Indy's dad?
Wow.
Because he's only 12 years older than Harrison Ford.
Yeah, he played in 58 and that movie came out in 89.
That was weird. He was 12 years older than Harrison Ford, but he was playing his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie came out 33 years ago. So he's 59.
The Last Crusade came out 33 years ago?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think my brain just
89,
broke.
yeah.
Dude, you know what else came out in 89? Ghostbusters 2, License to Kill, Tim Burton's Batman,
But if you
Star
listened
Trek
to all
5.
all those movies sound contemporaries of each other to me. I would have, if you listed all those movies, I would say, oh yeah, so Last Crusade probably came out about 6 years after that, 8 years after that. Oh, dear heavens. All right, what's next?
All right, from Lucky BX. Hi, crew. Michael Stuhlbarg will be in Doctor Strange 2. Do you think he could be portraying a secret villain like Nightmare or Mephisto? Great actor.
I'm not going to lie, I don't even know who he is.
Same.
Yeah, so okay.
Dude, it's always Mephisto. I'm just going to say.
I was going to say, everybody think, okay, so here's the thing, Lucky. Whenever a question is asked and the word could is in it, the answer is always yes. Could he be playing whoever this is, Nightmare or Mephisto? Could he? Sure. That's a different question as is it likely? No, but could? Sure. We'll see. I'm at a disadvantage. I don't even know who he is, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
From Glenn Mark. Funny story. Has anyone in the room ever been propositioned by a man in his 70s? I'm in my 40s and can say, yes, I have. Chris, could you tell more? Okay.
What are we talking about?
Glenn is in my voiceover class, and
Okay.
Glenn's in New Zealand, has this lovely kind of lullaby quality voice. Oh my gosh, his voice is magical. And he does like a phone job, right? Where he's a telemarketer, or he's doing some kind of surveys or something. I'm sorry if I'm not getting that right, Glenn. But he's talking to this guy who's 70 years old. And at the end of the call of just, well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you. The guy says, how old are you? And he's like, oh, I'm shy of 50. And he's like, well, you want to go get dinner? And, And Glenn's like, I'm sorry, what? And this guy just propositions him. And then Glenn says, do you know that I'm a man? And the guy on the other end was like, yeah, I thought you were a Sheila, and hangs up on him.
A Sheila. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, this is
I was
obviously
going to say, I'm
Australia.
not going to try to do Kiwi dialects. That would be so embarrassing for me. But yeah, he was just trying to do his job, and this guy was like, based on your voice alone, let's kick it.
Well, I think we can all say if we had a nickel for every time that happened to us,
In my
I'd
younger
have a
days,
nickel.
what can I say?
I'd have a lot of nickels.
A lot
Men
of
are
nickels.
gross.
Or a lot of boyfriends.
All right, what's next? How else do you think
Renshaw.
she meant Logan? All right.
He's not 70, just,
No, I'm saying Logan has game. I'm not
true.
saying
Yeah, he
he's
propositioned
70. I'm
you.
saying
What
Logan's
was,
got
his
game.
opening line to you when you guys first met?
Oh, the
what happened?
very first thing he ever said to me,
Yeah.
because we were in a movie together and we shot in different places. He saw me in the movie, called me up, went, "Hey, I'm Logan Peets." I went, "Oh yeah, hi, I'm Chris." He says, "Yeah, I know. I think you're very beautiful, and I think you should move to Nebraska, and you should
You've
be my
told me
girl.
this story.
Yep, you should be my girlfriend." And my response was, "Shut the fuck up, you fucking freak! Put my friend Noelle back on the phone." Because he grabbed the phone from the director, and that was the moment that Logan was like, "I'm gonna marry her. I'm gonna figure this out. And I'm gonna marry her."
Wow, that never works for me.
But that is a sweet story.
Yeah.
That's a
I mean,
great
it's
story.
Sweet because you're now married to
Yeah.
him.
Now,
Otherwise,
hang
it'd be
on.
one of those freaky stories
Yeah.
about this one time I was in this movie and this guy. But
He calls it courting. I call it stalking.
How
for
long
Logan.
from the time you had the conversation did you have your first date?
Years and years and
Wow,
years.
so he really carried a torch.
he was playing
Yeah.
the long game.
He was, yeah.
Oh, wow. Good for
Did you
Logan.
do that like biblical just to make him see if it'd work out, like Abraham or something like that? Somebody had to wait 7 years for a wife.
Nah, I just was like, why would I go to Nebraska?
All right.
Oh, there you go.
What's
Sorry,
next?
good people.
No,
of the
I got a
Midwest.
question for Chris too. I'm just kidding.
No. What's next?
From Al Renshaw. Also appreciate Rob recently going back and forth with me in comments of his recent Star Trek Facebook post.
There you go. Rob engaging with the social
Yes,
media.
and he had some good things to say, and I do appreciate we were on opposite sides of a fence, and he did say at the end he respected my opinion. So thank you,
Well,
sir.
that's the
That is
way-
what civil discourse on the internet's all
Might
about.
be the first person to ever do that.
All right. What's next?
All right, from Elizabeth Harada.
Elizabeth.
We should call this week Game Week.
Game week.
With new episodes of Moon Knight and Halo and film releases like The Northman and massive talent, normal days are back.
It's a really good week.
Pretty
Week
good.
is
And
stacked,
next week's going to
baby.
be even better, though.
And by the way, I'm taking your advice, Ray. I decided to take your advice. I'm holding off on last week's episode of Halo until the new one comes out. I'm going to watch them back to back. But Northman, massive talent, Moon Knight, Halo, and then next week. Why? What's next week? Well, I mean, we're going to be CinemaCon.
The
I mean,
chips are stacked.
And if memory serves, next week is actually, by the way, Better Call Saul was this week too. Next week, I believe, is Ozark season 4 finale.
Better Call
Series finale.
Better Call Saul has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
oh, good to know. It's a great show, at least from what I saw of it. All right, what's next?
From Marie Seafring, Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Great movie.
It is a
Love
great movie. What else, Marie?
that.
Yeah, I said just throw it. Well, yes. Look, honestly, every year, here's the thing about the Academy Awards. There's 5 spots. Except for Best Picture, there's 5 spots.
Yeah.
With hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of eligible people. That means every year there's going to be multiple individuals that you could say deserve an Academy Award nomination, but there's simply not enough spots. Right? Jake Gyllenhaal not getting a nomination for Nightcrawler is one of those ones that I go, that one was weird. Because you always got to play the game. Who do you bump out? Who do you bump out? And that's where people get stumped, right? Well, he should have gotten an Academy Award. Well, who would you bump out? Well, none, because they all deserved it. But Jake Gyllenhaal not getting an Academy Award nomination for Nightcrawler. It was the best performance of his career. And
It's
that's a tough
astonishing.
one. Yeah, he's so good in that. Renee
So good.
Russo's great in that. I mean,
You know what? I thought Renee Russo would have a big career renaissance because of Nightcrawler. I've always loved her. She
love
was
her.
great in the Thomas Crown Affair.
She's incredible in that.
So good. And of
Thor's
course,
mom.
in the Lethal Weapon movies and
she's
stuff.
Thor's mom.
She's
Yeah.
Thor's mom. But how come
I want to see her in more things, though.
We need more Renee
I have
Russo.
a feeling it's just that she doesn't want to work as much. That's
could
honestly,
be.
that's my kind of take on it right now.
I just love her.
Oh, so do I. She's great. All right, what's next?
From Sam Ash, sending in an almost $20 super chat.
Thank you, Sam.
Loki loves Sylvie, who is female Loki. Thor loves Jane, who is now female Thor. Odin, are you Loki and Thor, gods of self-love? No, really, these two look like the phrase "love yourself" took the phrase "love yourself" to a whole new level.
Well, the whole there's a massive difference between the Loki and Sylvie situation and Thor. Jane is a completely different person who just takes on a new nickname of Mighty Thor. She's not in any way, shape, or form Thor. There's nothing similar about that, and they were already dating, and so it's completely different situation. The Loki and Sylvie thing still grosses me out. That completely grosses me out. Yeah. Like making out with yourself. The idea of falling in love with yourself. It's I don't know. There's something about that I find very freaky, and I'm
But
just
she's not exactly him.
But she is an alternate version of him.
She's hot.
At least she's beautiful, no doubt about it. She is.
I had no idea that happened.
What's next?
From Never Lose Your Nerd, I'm really enjoying the Halo show and watching it with my kid. I'm actually enjoying it more than Moon Knight. Chris, don't watch episode 3. # eye and needle. Ooh, thank you. Okay.
Oh yeah, the eye thing. Oh
yeah.
Transfer. Oh.
Yep. Yeah, I remember yeah, Chris would definitely not like that point. Listen, I'll tell you what, I haven't watched episode 4 yet, but I am enjoying Halo.
That's good.
Not one of my favorite shows on TV or anything, but I'm having a good time.
Because every day when I just go onto YouTube just to see what's on my front page, there's always a video destroying the episodes, and I just don't get it. I don't get why people would waste their time. If they don't like it, just don't watch it. Let people enjoy things.
Let me tell you about Star Trek Picard.
I'm just saying, just let people enjoy things, because you know what? We hadn't had a Halo series or Halo anything. And just be happy. And like, if this doesn't succeed, we'll never get a Halo anything again. So, you know what I mean? Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
All right. What's next?
From Sam Fisher again, I already feel like Zeus will only be in 1 or 2 scenes where Thor warns him about Gorr and Zeus calls him crazy, and then one more Gorr kills Zeus.
I mean, look, I think we've understood for a while that it's going to be a very limited role. And somebody wrote in yesterday and said, I probably, that scene of Olympus is probably right at the beginning of the movie. I actually am buying into that. I think it's going to be
like in Infinity War.
Yes.
Like you had brought up the other day.
Yes. Like
you got to set up the peril.
And I think that's what they're going to do with this. And so it is definitely going to be a short scene. And it may be those specific scenes, Sam. You never know. All right, what's next?
Mars Audio. The Bubble on Netflix was god-awful. It was trending at the time on their top 10 list. How do these bad movies trend, and has anyone seen it?
Because you have to watch it to know it's bad.
I had to turn it off.
Really?
It's Judd Apatow, too.
Yeah, it's that bad.
When I'm excited about something, because I love Judd Apatow, he made what I think is the greatest comedy film of all time in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. When I hear bad things about something I really like or I'm excited about, I tend to then not watch it because I don't want to have my heart broken. And I've heard from people that I know, okay, I mean, I've seen some good things said online, obviously, but from people that I know, I've heard nothing but horrible things about it. So I'm like, I love Judd Apatow, so I don't want to watch this because I love him. I just don't want to, it's like, if you got a really good friend who's going to do a performance and it's like, yay, I want to go support my friend. But you know what? Chris's tap dancing isn't so good.
My tap dancing is magnificent.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just bringing up a fake situation.
I would never criticize you.
But I would.
Thank you, Rob. And that's why he's my favorite.
Because I love Chris. If I think she's going to do terrible, I couldn't watch it. It's like, no. Like, it's not that I don't want to support her. It's just that I because I like her so much, I couldn't handle watching her fail. And
that's sweet.
I'm not saying you would. I'm making up a
I would.
fake
I'd
scenario.
be a terrible tap dancer.
But I mean, because I love Judd Apatow, I don't want to watch this movie if I know it's bad. So that's. But again,
it would bum you out.
It comes out and it hits it because it's Judd Apatow's got a new comedy, The Bubble, and they actually advertise this because they don't advertise a lot of their stuff. And I can totally see why it'd be top 10 trending. But unfortunately, people are watching and they're going, not so good. Like Red Notice. Is that was their number 2 all-time thing. It's Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Wonder Woman Gal Gadot. And so, yeah, everybody's going to tune in and watch it. Of course, on Netflix, it's for free. And by the way, of course, Ryan Reynolds is my favorite movie star. Thank you, Ryan. He is, absolutely.
And you're talking on his service.
And I'm using Mint Mobile now. Thank you again. And he's my favorite movie star. So obviously people are going to go check it out.
He has my favorite wife.
But
Age of Adeline.
that movie
Fair.
is not good. Like Red Notice is not good. But everybody's going to watch it. So that's kind of what Netflix is kind of banking on, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
CJ Rebirth. Have you guys seen Little Shop of Horrors? It's a fun movie I discovered last year, and the music reminded me of Disney. Also, R.I.P. Howard Ashman. Well, that's why it reminds you of Disney.
Well, like which version of Little
I was going
Shop?
to say the Jack Nicholson version.
If
People
the-
like, wait, what?
I would assume the Rick Moranis
Yes. Of
course.
version, right? It was
Hey,
his birthday
Miss
yesterday,
Seymour.
too.
Was it Rick Moranis'
Yeah.
birthday? Happy birthday to
Probably
Rick
like the
Moranis.
goodest Canadian kid.
Goodest of the Canadian kids. By the way, he came out of semi-retirement to do a Mint Mobile ad with Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds. Did you see that one?
Yeah, it
that
was
was awesome to see Rick Moranis back out there.
Those ads are great.
Okay, they're obviously a sponsor of the show, but the Mint Mobile ads are awesome. I love that. Like their ads are so good. Anyway, all right, what's next?
From Thanos. Mutants come back. Flashbacks of past MCU big moments with them in. Cut into Logan giving Thanos the scars. The purple Thanos, not me Thanos.
See, go ahead.
I don't think that's what happened. The reality was changed. That doesn't mean that those mutants were there. They were not there. Like you said, John, she changed reality pre-MCU, pre-Iron Man.
I agree. Yeah.
So everything that we've seen in the MCU did not involve mutants because they weren't there. So we're not going to see the mutants were really all part of this thing. I don't think that they were. I think that she retconned, she took them away. So when Thanos snapped, there were no mutants. They were gone already. They were in the animated world.
If that's where she sent them. All right, what's next?
From Seconds from Disaster. Oh, wait. Yeah, Seconds from Disaster. What's up, Sons of Campea? I love the new look of Thor in the trailer, specifically the shot of him walking through the fire, like a shot from the Northman. And the fur makes him look like a Viking. Makes me wonder why they waited this long to make him look like the mythology he comes from.
Well, I mean, they've gone more with, like, they're trying to make it reminiscent of the comic book look and stuff like that. I don't want to get caught up into a tangent here of just talking about the Thor trailer, because the Thor trailer to me was so delightful. It was so good. It actually made me more excited about it than I even am for Doctor Strange 2. And I'm very excited for Doctor Strange 2. But, oh my God, that was so good. But the look of him, the look of Mighty Thor, Jane, Korg is even looking like he's dressing up a little bit more now. I cannot wait to see Gorr the God Butcher. Cannot wait to see that. But yeah, I love that as well. Seconds from Disaster. All right, what's next?
Oh, and thank you for our shirts. They're so comfy.
Oh yeah, we got some shirts here from
yeah.
Seconds from Disaster.
They're nice. Kyle D. Hey, John and crew. Are you doing the Dark Knight Rises for Movie Club? I know it's the weakest of the trilogy, but was just curious.
No, I can say pretty definitively probably not. Don't get me wrong. I like the Dark Knight Rises. I do. But it is by far the weakest to me of the three. Kind of like we'll definitely do Godfather Part 2, but we're probably not going to do Godfather Part 3. So yeah, I can probably say we probably won't be doing the Dark Knight Rises on Movie Club. All right, what's next?
Rob, I'm just reading this. This isn't how I feel. Star Trek wishes it was Star Wars, writes in. Star Trek. More like Star Wreck.
Yeah, listen. The reality is, for different reasons on different levels,
Sorry, I'm just Ron Burgundy. I just have to read what's here.
these are both like really important properties in the history of and the formation of sci-fi as we know it today.
Yeah.
I think he made that name just for you, Rob.
You think? Yeah, probably. I have a feeling he doesn't walk around and introduce. That's not his.
That's not his Christian name?
That's not his grinder username.
Oh no!
Or I totally meant to say Tinder.
Wow, John,
that was ultimate diss, bro.
Is Grindr? Who knows?
You know,
Honestly, there's a
there's
buddy of
nothing
mine.
wrong if you have a grinder profile.
It's a butter. There's a good buddy of mine, first name Justin. There's a good buddy of mine who is actually a programmer for Grindr. So that's why when I was thinking dating app, Grindr was the first one.
Oh, nice save.
So there was. You've met Justin, as a matter of fact.
That's
Anyway,
true.
all right, what's next?
From John Redcorn. With TVMA stuff on Disney Plus, over under 20% will get a Star Wars Big Star Glider show.
Oh, he means bigs.
Bigs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not Big Star Glider. It's
That'd be
it's Big
two
Star
on the
Glider.
nose.
Big's Dark Glider.
You know, I'm happy to come out of retirement and star in that show,
If you need me.
just in case anybody wants me to.
All right, what's next?
From Shane Roxas, there can only be one workout montage song for Thor. I need a hero. Already used in Loki.
Yeah, already did it in Loki. And about 713 other TV shows and movies. Yeah. I honestly still think it should be Survivor. I think it should be Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. That's one. Although I will accept Sweet Child of Mine as well, but I think it should be. I think it should be that one. All right, what's next?
What about Let's Get Physical?
No.
Olivia Newton-John, Australian. They shot the movie in Australia.
Well, Thor's working out.
Great.
That wouldn't have been on Peter Quill's.
It could be on his Zune now.
Oh, I mean, it could be, but I don't think that one would work. All right, what's next?
J Master. Hey, John, Marvel just announced on their Twitter account page, thanking the fans for the Thor Love and Thunder trailer hitting 209 million views in 24 hours.
That's huge.
Huge.
I can't remember what the record is, but that's close.
That's a big number.
That is close. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. That trailer's so freaking good.
That's a big Twinkie.
And when they put, what the fuck does that even mean?
That's from Ghostbusters. That's what Ernie Hudson said.
Where does? Oh, that's what Ernie says that.
That's a big Twinkie. I don't know. That was just the thing that popped into my head. Nonsensical.
Why do I want a Twinkie?
Where is saying? Oh yeah. So now I think that's going to be dwarfed when we get a trailer with Gorr. When Gorr the God Butcher shows up, we get that first full trailer, because this one was just 90 seconds. The next one's going to be like 2.5 minutes. That one I think is going to even destroy this one, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
From Jordan Ellis. Either way, take my money now. I'm ready for Multiverse of Madness, and whether they add the mutants or not, Wanda's going to wreck shop. Excited to see how they do it.
See, Rob, this goes back to something we were talking about the other day, the whole don't let speculation become expectation. We're all speculating all these big, wild things, and that's fun. But it's important to not then expect that stuff to be in the movie.
No.
Just go in the movie and take the movie for what it is. Because, Rob, I think whether or not we get X-Men or mutants or Tom Cruise Iron Man or a new version of T'Challa or any of that stuff, it doesn't matter. I think even if this movie is just what it is, what it says it is in its core, which is Doctor Strange, Wanda, Wong, fighting some new big threat, I have a feeling it's going to be awesome regardless. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I completely agree with you. The movie looks great. I can't wait to see Sam Raimi doing his Evil Dead camera work where the camera's moving around and craziness, and I want to see all these characters. To be honest, John, I'm going to be honest. I don't think that they're going, like you said today, they're not going to address the mutant issue. That's my first inclination. I will say, but wouldn't it be cool if they did? And if they did it, why not go all big and do the Wanda thing? I don't think they really will, because this movie looks stuffed enough as it is. But if they did, it'd be cool. And like you said, it looks great. I'm not going to be disappointed by it unless it's not a very good movie. But I can't believe that.
All right, what's next?
From Luis again. In honor of John Schnepp, whose birthday is next month, and I really miss, why not call the show The Sweaty Show? Another name could be The Movie Show.
Quite frankly, because The Sweaty Show is a terrible name for a show. like John Schnepp was the king of the Sweaties,
and it was his term.
It was his term. Yeah, I mean, so it's just as a name of a show, it's not a good name for a show. But speaking of which, I also saw, and also speaking, since we were talking about Nicolas Cage a little bit earlier, of course, John Schnepp did the great documentary, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, in which he had some of like never before seen pictures and footage of Nicolas Cage in the Superman outfit.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, I saw today, he did an interview and he said he's totally open to coming back and doing Superman again.
Oh, yeah.
Not that he ever did it for the first time. So, and if they ever did that, somewhere in their credits should be a special thanks to John Schnepp.
Oh.
There totally should be. Because I don't think anybody would even care today that Nicolas Cage was almost Superman if it wasn't for John Schnepp. So that should totally be in there. All right.
Agreed.
Thanks for that, Luis. All right, what's next?
From Jacob Kruika, the piece of venom left at the end of No Way Home will either be used to form Null, or it will find its host with Gorr.
Nah, Gorr's not going to be some human on Earth who stumbles across a thing. Like, the whole basic understanding is, he is an alien from a world that struggled. Let's just say that. They struggled. He blamed the gods for their problems, all that kind of stuff. I don't see them, at least I'll say this. I want the filmmakers to take whatever approach they think tells the best story. But I will admit I will feel a tinge of disappointment if they just make him a guy living in Boston or New York who stumbles across the symbiote.
Hey, everybody, I'm Gorr.
Yeah,
I'm here to fuck you up.
Fuck the Lakers, and stumbles across that and then becomes this thing. I will be disappointed. So I don't think, besides Null is not, anybody is Knull. Null is not a piece of Venom symbiote. Null is the symbiote god.
Right.
So, I mean, that would, and again, they can do something different in the movies, but that's such a big departure that I want them to do their own thing that doesn't have to be exact like the comics, but such a huge departure for Gorr and Null. I got to admit, I'd probably be a little bit disappointed if it's that big of a departure. What do you think?
I don't want, to be honest, I really don't want to see Venom in our MCU universe. Leave him where he is. Mm-hmm. Leave him in that Spider-Verse.
He's doing great there.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
The man with the master plan. The more I listen to the animated universe theory, the more I want this to happen. Will it? Probably not.
I mean, probably not. But remember, as Doctor Strange and America Chavez are breaking through realities in the trailer, one of the realities they go through, you can see it a little bit in the background, is an animated reality. I'm not saying that's the X-Men animated reality, but if Captain Carter's going to be in this thing, and we're seeing that in the trailer, why not? Probably won't, but why not? For why? All right, what's next?
Big D Studios Entertainment sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Big D.
Hey guys, Love and Thunder, fire! So understandably, Gorr wasn't in the first teaser. With my trust in Marvel and the talent of Bale, I'm hoping Gorr will make an unforgettable and powerful entrance. Fingers crossed. What are your thoughts?
No doubt. No doubt. I've absolutely zero doubt about that. I will say this, though. I did liken a little bit unto what you were suggesting here, Big D. I saw a conversation online between somebody I knew and some people I didn't know that they're not going to put Gorr in the trailers at all. And I can guarantee you, yes, they will. I feel like this discussion comes up with most of the MC movies the last number of years where a conversation will come up. It's like, I bet that this character, name the character, doesn't get shown in the trailers. And every time they do. So while I think it was absolutely the right decision not to have Gorr the God Butcher in this first teaser, we will see him. I have zero doubt that we will see him in a trailer, Rob.
Of course, 100%. You're not going to not show your villain in a trailer. Of course you will.
All right, next up.
Sam Fisher, they're doing a pop for the Goat Boat. Hits pre-order.
I mean, listen, I was tempted to pre-order, if it was a pre-order thing, the Goat Boat Lego thing, just because I thought it looked so amazing. A pop of that? Yeah. That's the other great thing about pops. They're like $12 a shot. It's not like you have to plan out your finances to get one like you do with Hot Toys. You can run down to Hot Topic and buy one right now. I mean, and get some pretty good ones. By the way, I was at Ann and I.
Oh, I see the Goat Boat.
Oh, is it great?
Is it cute?
Yeah.
So Ann and I, one of the things we like to do is we like to look up online, find really good gaming comic book collector stores, right? And then just have dinner and then just run out and go visit it and look around. We came across this one in Riverside that had pops in it that I had never even heard of. One of them was called the Soldier Supreme, which is Doctor Strange in the Captain America outfit. And I'm like, and they had tons of them like that. It's like, oh, I could spend a lot of money in here. Yeah. Even though they're just like 10 or 12 bucks, I could spend a lot of money in here. Dangerous. All right, what's next?
All right, from Andrew Poor. Hey, John, saw on Reddit yesterday that apparently someone watched No Way Home 300 times since its release. If that's true, that's insane.
I like movies. That would literally be 700 something minutes of your life.
Do you count watching it like as if you fell asleep and it repeated over and over again?
I mean,
because I watched tons of movies like that.
It was like 7,000 or 70,000 minutes, 300 times.
Sorry, I meant hours.
Yeah.
I meant hours, not minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
750 plus hours.
Do you know what bums me out about hearing that?
What's that?
There's so many wonderful movies. Watch No Way Home 5 or 6 times. Yeah. But of those 300
go see Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, go see. You could broaden your horizons, and you could watch all the Marvel movies again.
But you know
and
what?
Still watch another 50 movies.
Well, I do think this sounds insane.
I think this Redditor is my husband.
I will say this, though. You do you, man. Yeah. If that's what gives you joy,
It's true.
then don't listen to anybody else. If that's what gives you joy, you go watch that 300 times.
Like Employee of the Month.
Psychologically, they covered this a lot during the pandemic. It's why people kept rewatching The Office and rewatching these shows. It's comforting to know how things end. So if you're a really anxious person, that could be really, really comforting for you.
Oh,
so
there you go.
Maybe that's why.
All right, what's next?
So from Magic K, John, physical media is dying. Rob, keep my beloved 4K discs out of your filthy mouth. Don't make me slap you.
Well, here's the problem, though. The first person in the world who will tell you that physical media is dying is that guy over there. He'll be the first one to tell you that.
15%, 15 to 20% decline every year for the last 6 or 7 years.
Is that why you're building a Noah's Ark of media?
That's right. That is exactly what I'm doing. I am in my little observatory. No one can come in.
All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher again. I love that Gorr, at least in the toy, looks like he cuts himself for every god he kills as a form of scarification, like Victor Zaz or Killmonger.
Oh, I like the Victor Zaz reference
Yeah.
there. That's a good possibility. I think there might just be scars.
Yeah, I think he just got messed up a little bit.
He's
some of the
fighting
time.
gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fighting gods.
Yeah, I mean, it's very cool. I just can't wait to see him in action, like swinging. Because Christian Bale's a very physical actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Can you imagine him fighting?
Oh, it's going
It's going to be great. By the way, I just want to point out, I do have Josie and the Pussycats on Blu-ray.
I love that movie.
That movie is
so
awesome.
much. I love it.
I don't know why that just popped into my head, but I figured you'd be impressed.
Oh my gosh, I love it more than most things.
By the way, I want to show this one. This is really great. I came across this on social earlier, and it's really great. There's a wonderful scene. Well, I'll just bring it up on screen right now. Here we go. At the bottom, that's the scene from the trailer. At the top, that's right out of the comic book.
Wow.
I mean, right down to the exact number of spikes in the design of the character. Now, what he's basically Thor is saying, the creature down there, because I don't remember this panel from the comic, so I just thought, oh, that's like a creature that Thor killed at one point. He's going back. But no, this is a creature that Gorr killed. And in the thing, let me see if I can...
Damn, that's a huge creature.
Yeah. And it's Thor thinking to himself, I knew this god. It's a god. It's a dead god that he's in front of. Fallengar, boy, it's too small for me to read. The Behemoth, whatever. Fallengar the Behemoth, a patron god of the galactic frontier, champion of the Tournament of Immortals for 5 centuries straight. They say he wrestles black holes just for fun. Wow. Last I saw him, what is it? The last I saw him, barely 100 years ago, we passed one another in a spaceway and waved. So that's that character. So obviously, this shot in the trailer is one of the gods that Gorr has already killed.
Dang.
And that's a pretty big god that Gorr kills. So
wrestles with black holes.
Wrestles with black holes. Love it. All right, what's next?
BJ, I think. Oh wait, no.
Sin Vendetta?
Yes, thank you. One of the things I'm looking forward to the most from the Lord of the Rings trilogy movie clubs is Rob's behind-the-scenes stories that he has from working on the extended editions documentaries.
I'm glad you brought that up because I don't know everybody realizes that you worked. You were in New Zealand. You worked on the behind-the-scenes stuff for these movies.
Yep.
And
for Fellowship and Two Towers.
Oh, not for
no, because then I got Disney hired me to go do Narnia.
Right.
So I jumped ship. I didn't do Return of the King, which is, what could I do?
But I think you're right. I think Rob's going to have some really cool stories to tell about the things. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow, that is when we're doing our first one movie club. No, sorry, tonight. Today.
I was like, tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Moon Knight. Tomorrow's Moon Knight. Later today, 4 p.m. Make sure you come back at 4 p.m. Los Angeles time for that.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow's Moon Knight, the after show, but tonight's Moon Knight, the show.
Yes. Busy next 48 hours for us. All right, what's next?
Now from Colin Z. I've seen both The Northman and Unbearable. They're both great.
Oh, first of all, that's cool that you saw Unbearable next to me, but man, all these people in these different countries have already seen The Northman. I'm very jealous. I'm seeing it Thursday. I'm so excited for this movie, man. I can't even believe it.
I mean, our man Stubble McShave in Sweden, it seems appropriate that,
they should get it
they
first.
should get it over there.
Yeah, they definitely should get it first. All right, I'm a little bit jealous there, Collins. I'm glad you had a chance to watch those and had a good time, man. All right, what's next?
From BJ. Oh, Rupert Friend. Here I was looking forward to Rupert Grint playing a Star Wars villain.
Rupert Grint.
I'm here for it.
He hasn't done much.
Well,
he became a dad, and he was just like, yeah, I'm good.
So he's on
Weasley?
Servant, and he kills it on
right,
that.
that's right,
He's
Servant.
so good in that. And he is, I believe, right now working on something with Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's wonderful.
He's one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise.
So good.
All right, what's next?
Matt Finch, let's go Sixers. Have any of you been watching the NBA playoffs and who you rooting for? Also, game day.
Game day.
Game day.
Watch the Sixers kicking my Raptors' ass. But I mean, I knew Raptors weren't going to do anything this year. This is not their year. But hey, at least they're in the playoffs, unlike the Lakers.
Wow.
But yeah, I still think, man, I have a hard time picturing anybody beating the Suns. It's going to be, although Golden State is looking, now that Steph Curry's back, they're looking pretty 4 year ago beastly.
Yeah.
The West is going to be interesting, man. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher. Also, in
I
case
think Jay Master.
Oh, sorry. I saw that as 2 of 2. 1 of 2. Rob, yesterday, news broke by the Seattle Kraken announced Seattle-born rapper Macklemore and former Seahawks Marshawn Lynch have now become minority owners of the Kraken.
Oh, I don't think he got part 2 in.
Kraken is
They own a
That's
sea
the-
monster?
No, that's the NHL team. The NHL expansion.
I mean, that's pretty cool, though.
That is
Macklemore and
pretty
Marshawn
cool.
Lynch, I expect
See,
a
that's
Kraken
pretty cool.
video. It's funny, Seattle, I've often made this joke. I mean, growing up in Seattle, we had Mix-a-Lot. But when you're talking about your city's biggest rappers are Macklemore and Mix-a-Lot, you don't exactly have the hardest city to live in. It's whether you like big butts or you're putting titties on the glass or you're popping tags. I mean, let me tell you, Macklemore and Mix-a-Lot, but having Marshawn Lynch, can you imagine the commercials
that's the
they could
cred
make
right
for
there.
the Kraken? Marshawn Lynch, man, that guy he's a business genius. I will watch anything that he does. His Skittles ads alone. Come on, dude.
But did you see him in that? What's that Netflix?
he's in Subway commercials right now.
Murderville.
Murderville. Did you see the Marshawn Lynch episode of Murderville?
So good.
He was so funny in that.
Dude, the fact that I hope that they put these two personalities together. They've got to do music videos together. I love Marshawn Lynch.
Me too, man. All right, what's next?
And they can unleash the Kraken.
From Sam Fisher. Also, in case you missed it, Funko has available for pre-order 50th anniversary figures for Vito, Michael, and Sonny Corleone.
I got my Vito on pre-order at
Did you already get it?
Entertainment Earth. No, it comes out in July, but I have it pre-ordered because I'm not going to miss out on the Vito again. So have that one.
Please show it to me when you get it. I'd be very excited about that.
He's sitting with the cat. I don't really remember. Is that more
That's
of a
the very
Godfather
beginning.
2 thing?
Cat in the very
That's
yeah.
the very first scene.
But we never seen him do that again so maybe, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't think we ever see the cat again. I think it might just be the first scene. All right, what's next?
Seconds from Disaster again. Theory. Mutants used to exist, but Wanda erased them from existence, but that timeline was erased by the TVA. But now that He Who Remains is dead, that timeline intersects back with ours.
Nah, it's not going to get that convoluted.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I can't see them doing that convoluted. I think it's going to be a little bit more straightforward. In as straightforward as a powerful being, the Scarlet Witch, erased an entire race of beings from the world, changing the history of everybody understanding it. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to have anything to do with the TVA or Kang. Because once again, that would have then pre-required somebody watching Multiverse of Madness to have watched the Loki series, and that's just not what Kevin Feige does. So I don't think it's going to get that convoluted. At least, I really hope it doesn't. But we'll see Seconds from Disaster. You never know. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave. Over under 15%. Professor Hulk is replaced by other Hulk in Doctor Strange 2.
I'm going to go under 15%, but I certainly hope it does because I think we're getting a little bit of glimpse of him in She-Hulk as well. All right, what's next?
Shelby, still holding out for Mary-Kate and Ashley Scarlet Witch variants, by the way. I love you, Chris. Oh, I love you, Shelby. Thanks.
I don't know why they don't do that.
Who's to say they're not?
No, Mary-Kate and Ashley seem dead set against being on screen for anything these
I think
days.
that's what I heard too.
Yeah, when I say I don't know why they don't do that, I don't mean Marvel, I mean Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Yeah.
They also have, I think, more money
than God.
I think they can buy and sell the Kardashians 20 times over. Like, it's just like they're too busy soaking in their bathtub filled with gold coins. Like, I don't.
I mean, they did that for their
whole
childhood.
Like,
they don't want to do that no more. Some people are just not made for it when they get.
It's awesome hearing Elizabeth Olsen though tell stories about growing up around the set of Full House. She was never on it. I don't think she was ever on it. But she just would have to be there because her sisters was there and her parents would be there.
And she's the younger sister.
She's the younger sister. Yeah. I think it would be great to see Mary-Kate and Ashley in there.
I would love to see like all three of them just having a conversation.
I think it would be hilarious.
I'll bet. I'll make one for sure bet for this Doctor Strange 2 thing. Wanda will be the cause of at least one significant death.
A lot of people think she's going to kill Wong.
Well, that's it then.
You can't kill Wong.
She's going to kill at least one person that is meaningful.
Oh, she's going to kill the entire Illuminati.
Oh yeah, she's going to wipe out
the whole kill everybody.
Yeah. Like when she's walking, that shot we saw when she's walking into the Illuminati chamber and she kills their guard.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Okay.
Yeah, I think she's going to kill them all. All right, what's next?
Matt, Blair Witch 2 aside, Jeffrey Donovan is incredibly underrated. Give this man a DC or Marvel role.
Who's Jeffrey Donovan? Again?
Wasn't he the guy on Burn Notice?
Oh, again, I didn't watch Burn Notice.
Is he the lead actor?
Yeah, he's the lead actor from it. I didn't watch it till the pandemic, and I really loved that show. It was great.
That's the one with
Bruce.
Yeah, with Bruce Campbell, right?
Yeah. He does great voice acting work too. He's on Law and Order right now. So
okay, I'm just not familiar with his work.
Yeah,
but that's
he's
great.
good.
All right, what's next?
From Juan Ponce, when will DC just say screw it and make James Gunn with the Kevin Feige of the new DC studio? And make James Gunn the new Kevin Feige. Sorry.
Here's the problem. You can't have your whole DCEU like Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. I love both of those. Love them.
Yeah.
But you can't have your cinematic universe feeling like that. I think he's great for pieces of the puzzle, but I don't know about that. I love James Gunn.
I don't think that James Gunn wants to be the studio.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
so.
Just like I don't think John Favreau wants to be the studio. These guys want to make stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want to
Yeah.
be in positions where they have to make decisions about
They're not
stuff.
suits.
Yeah, they're not
They're not
suits.
suits. Come on.
By the way, I'll bring this up because somebody just mentioned again, Mad Villainy in the live chat said this. This got brought up in the last mailbag I did. And I know this is going to be incredibly unpopular, but sometimes that's what the truth is. The truth is sometimes unpopular.
It hurts.
A lot of people are saying it should be Bruce Timm. And I'm like, really? You want a guy to be ahead of a studio making live action motion pictures who's never once made a live action motion picture? That's the big idea? Come on. Come on.
Batman the Animated Series was a masterpiece.
It's fabulous.
Brilliant, and it spawned so many characters who are now canonically DC characters. Bruce Timm also produced that Killing Joke movie. So there have been missteps there too.
I mean, even Kevin Feige had missteps.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's the whole idea of, hey, let's get a guy who's never done a live action film to become the head of a live action studio.
And you have to understand what people have to get is that a lot of this business is your relationships.
Yep.
When you have to go out on a set and kick some ass and somebody's a day and a half behind, is Bruce Timm going to be the guy that's going to go out and do that? You've got to find somebody that has multiple skill sets. And that's not a hard thing. That's a hard thing to find.
That's Liam Neeson.
That's true. But I don't think he could run the DC universe. Maybe he could.
All right, what's next?
Marie Seafring, movie club suggestion. Oh, Nightcrawler was a movie club
Oh,
suggestion.
Jake Gyllenhaal's movie. Okay, you know what? That's not a bad one.
Yes.
That's a terrific
We have
movie.
to.
Okay, yeah. I think at some point, sometime, we'll probably do a Nightcrawler one because that movie's just so much to talk about. All right, what's next?
Hod Love, I'll do you one better. Why is Mutants?
Yeah. Little bit of Drax the Destroyer there thinking that's
Nice.
Why mutants? I love it, Holland. All right, what's next?
My Comic Planet. Mads Mikkelsen says Indy Jones 5 will recapture the feel of the first two films inspired by 1930s and 1940s, saying, it's like that original Indy, something dense and epic. This has me excited, John.
First of all, Mads Mikkelsen is a global treasure.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Like, he just waltzed into Fantastic Beasts, took over a role looking very different than the previous, taking over a role that another actor played in the previous movie and kicked its ass. Like, I was actually just reading, by the way, I liked the second Fantastic. I'm in the minority, but like Cody Miller and I both liked the last Fantastic Beasts movie. But I really like Johnny Depp as Grindelwald in it. I thought Johnny Depp
he was really good.
I thought he was really good in that. I read an article this morning, I think it was on Screen Rant, where basically, and it's just an opinion piece, but it said, basically the title is Mads Mikkelsen is far superior as Grindelwald than Johnny Depp was, and it's not even close. And I'm like, I really like Johnny Depp in that role, but I completely agree. Like, Mads Mikkelsen just can walk into anything, I'm convinced. He can walk into anything. It doesn't matter if it's Star Wars. It doesn't matter if it's Harry Potter. It doesn't matter if he's taking over an iconic role from an iconic actor like Sir Anthony Hopkins and taking over a classic character like that. He walks into a place and just owns it. And if he's going into Indiana Jones and if he's saying, yeah, this really captures that spirit of the originals, even though I'm a little bit doubtful it's ever going to come out, I believe him. And I think that's something to be excited about. So I don't know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
From Muzamad, Chinatown should be a movie club. Perhaps the greatest crime mystery movie ever.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
But our viewers would not watch our movie club.
I think it would be the lowest rated movie club we've ever done. I mean, it's got to be one that we've... Now, you could probably bring up, because we were just talking about Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler didn't exactly blow up the box office, but I think a lot of our audiences watched it. We can't do a movie club when the movie club members haven't watched that movie. So that's one of the kind of trickier about it.
Chinatown is a great... I love Chinatown. Would you be surprised to know that I have that on Blu-ray?
I'd be surprised to find out if you didn't.
I don't have it on 4K, though.
Is there even a 4K version of it?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so at this point.
But there should be.
That makes sense then.
All right, what's next?
Just ending with some support from B-Dub, so thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, B-Dubs, for writing that in. Guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so much for your support. Super excited, guys. A little bit later today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Movie Club gets together and we talk about one of the great films of all time, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Make sure you guys come on back and join us for that. And then tomorrow, another episode of the John Campea Show. We also got our Moon Knight after show a little bit later on. It's a big, big week for us here. We're really, really excited, and we're so glad you guys are coming along for the ride. I want to thank sitting over here, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people follow you online?
Well, you can follow me here all the time. You can find me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett or RM Burnett. You can find me on Twitter at Burnett RM or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Post Geek Singularity.
Over right beside him is Ray Aura. Ray, where can people find you?
Ray Aura with a 0.
And right beside Ray, we got Chris Carr. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter right here at actor Chris Carr. I don't really go through my DMs though, guys, so I'm sorry if I haven't reached back out to you.
And you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at John Campea. I do look at DMs. I don't have time to reply to them, but I look at them. Anyway, that'll do it for us today, guys. Thanks so much for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, Twinkie.